Somewhere underneath the 1.3 billion tons of water behind me is a 180-year-old underwater city. This city, built on the dreams of thousands of people looking to discover gold, had hotels, churches, stagecoaches, and even a cemetery. But all that vanished 70 years ago when rising waters swallowed the entire valley. So today we came out here with some cutting-edge technology because I knew if we could locate the city, we might find some buried treasure. What I didn't know is in the process, we would accidentally stumble upon some discoveries. What is that? Or way more incredible. Oh my gosh! I'm the king of the world! I'm about to go hop on a boat to attempt something, to make a video I've been wanting to make for over 6 years. There's just something about exploring the unknown. Like even at NASA when I worked at, we're exploring the unknown secrets of the solar system, right here on Earth. We've got this lake with thousands of boaters on the surface, totally oblivious to hidden secrets lurking just hundreds of feet below them. And this lake in particular, I've got a feeling, has some really juicy secrets. And that's because on a cool March morning in 1848, a guy named William Sidney and his two buddies were hunting along the American River. But instead of bagging a deer, they discovered something a heck of a lot shinier, bringing back the largest pile of gold since the start of the California gold rush only a few weeks earlier. When word spread about the discovery, nearly 7,000 people moved into the valley, hoping to strike it rich. And indeed, this did create California's first millionaire, Samuel Brandon. Rather than mining any gold himself, he just sold pickaxes to everyone looking for it. Now all this hype created a bustling town with 7 saloons, a post office, even dance halls. But when the gold was mostly gone after decades of mining and deadly floods kept sweeping through this valley out to Sacramento, a dam was built right here to stop all those floods, creating a new lake, sealing away this ghostly time capsule somewhere under all this water. And since I love nothing more than a good Scooby-Doo mystery and cutting-edge tech, I headed out to the lake to see what submerged secrets we could reveal. As luck would have it, a few days before my planned trip, I saw this clip of a $250,000 wakeboard boat sinking just offshore. So I decided that would be as good a spot as any to kick things off and calibrate our underwater scanning sensors. So after making our way to the approximate location, we dropped in our scanning torpedo with this hog in the water. Okay, we're in. Let's go. And now,
not seeing transmit on.
but there's nothing a group of engineers love more than a problem that needs to be fixed. Gotta check those connections.
The antennas are hooked up to the box, right?
What about this one? So after another 30 minutes of intense troubleshooting, what's the connection that's missing?
We should have everything.
We just turned the dumb thing off and on again.
Oh wait, now I'm done responding.
And then, of course, got our first hit. We got a signal. Since we already knew the boat's approximate location, after just a few minutes of scanning,
Guys,
we hit jackpot.
we got something here.
Got something?
Might be the boat.
It could be that ski boat.
Could be. See the big shadow?
Oh, maybe. This could be the boat. We might have found her. This is Todd, by the way. And he not only has a doctorate in geohydrology, but this is his scanning torpedo. And the trick to how it works is sort of like when you're on a cliff and you yell and then wait to hear your echo. If it takes a short time to hear your echo bounce back, you know the other side of the canyon is close. If it takes a long time, you know it's far. Well, the torpedo is just traveling through the water, yelling echo a bunch of times every second. But since it has really sensitive ears, it can tell you exactly how long it takes to hear the echo back. And from that, it can generate a map of everything that's below the water, even in pitch black darkness. This, by the way, is also how our Crunch Labs hack-pack balance bot named Bobo, which you can yourself, by the way, knows when it's too close to the wall. This proximity sensor is the part ultrasonically yelling and listening for the echo. How deep is the water here?
63 feet, that's gotta be it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance.
It might be the boat.
It might be the boat. Feeling such an adventure.
So now that we located the sunken boat, I wanted to see it for myself.
That's good enough for me. Let's hit the sun.
And the coolest way possible to do that is using your own personal submarine. But not just any personal submarine, because this is the exact sub a few years back in the Bahamas, where I first discovered my love of sharks. My only hope is this time, there'd be fewer sharks. Let's go!
Come on down. No sharks in this lake, right? Not that I know of.
You'll find a boat. Oxygen is flowing. Heck, switch.
Alright, here we go.
Hot as hell.
Sorry for it being so hot. You thought it was hot outside? It's really mine's still on it. Sure, they see. My life support systems are
registration number confirmed this was the exact boat that sank a few days earlier. That is an expensive boat. And these were the exact oranges that sank a few days earlier. So this thing's chilling right on the bottom of the lake. Oh, a little fishy. We're swimming with the fish and the boat. Yeah. It's one of those ski boats. Yeah. I wonder how it sunk. This is like the Lake Titanic. I just felt something hit the ground.
Yeah, we're
bottom down.
You can actually see the bottom.
Oh yeah.
But I'm thrusting down to hold it.
We're just chilling on the bottom of the lake bed now, right next to this sunken boat. And as you can see, after being underwater only a few days, the boat was absolutely covered in silt. And that's the main reason this lake is so good at keeping her secrets. The low visibility means things are really hard to find. For example, on January 1st, 1965, 2 planes collided above the lake, killing 4 people. And while one plane somehow looped its way to an emergency landing in a nearby airport, the other plane and its passengers plummeted into the lake, never to be seen again. Well, we've already found one sunken boat. Now we just gotta find the lost city. Top Sergeant, no man requesting permission to come up.
No man declared again. Copy, clear to surface.
I see the surface.
So cool. This is what uses our air, is every time we go up once and twice. How much air do we have to breathe? Breathing time's easy. Buoyancy time, we don't have a lot of. We technically have 4 ascents and descents.
Really? Now this was news to me, but it turns out you actually have to calibrate this up differently for freshwater versus saltwater. Saltwater is more dense, making the sub naturally more buoyant. But in freshwater, it has to utilize more air to make you float to get you back to the surface. And that means fewer up and down dives before you're out there. Unfortunately for us, that means we've only got a few dives left on our mission to find an underwater city. As troubling as this revelation was, good news, we found a boat! The modern day ship hunter. We now need to find stuff with the torpedo sub combination. Put the scanner back in the water to find our sunken city. I'm the king of the lake! Now, it turns out there's a key difference between treasure hunting and treasure finding. Anything?
Nothing yet.
Because treasure finding is really exciting, but treasure hunting, anything? No, especially when you're hunting through 30,000 acres of murky water, Todd,
Nada.
it's actually really boring. Who knew hunting for underwater cities was so boring? And my impatience must have incurred the wrath of the treasure hunting gods, because something not boring finally happened.
Where did you get your bad luck juju's, man?
Why? What happened?
We have a dead motor.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
You think it's a battery?
No, it's like locked in gear, which means I can't start it.
Oh, there you go.
All right, let's see what happens.
Just died.
All right, let's hook up a tow line.
It was time for reinforcements, because for the bad news, this boat was dead. But for the good news, the replacement boat was rocking a party deck and dual action water slides. Let's go! Which meant treasure hunting was suddenly way more fun. If anyone was wondering, yeah, I do my own stunts. Woo! Anything, Todd? Todd! You got anything, Todd? And my persistence paid off. Anything? Because we finally got some good news.
Hey, Mark, I think we found something.
You got something?
All right, check it out. There it is. Boom.
No way. We had discovered an underwater bridge.
Yeah, you can see the bridge support structures where it would have terminated into an old roadway.
Now the bridge looks warped in these pictures, but that's actually because the scanning torpedo only sends those echoes off to the sides. So directly below, you'll always have a blind spot. Since the blind spot was right in the center of the bridge, that could only mean one thing. That's right below us right now.
Yep, that's it.
I think it's time to hop in the sub. The thinking was, if we found the bridge, we would find the lost city. Room for one more?
Welcome aboard.
I got that. So I was all in on using our second dive to find it. Let's find a bridge. But the captain was having some worries.
This is murky water.
Yes, it is.
And the language he used really got across how dire the situation was.
Maybe trees down there.
Ah, trees, yeah. We know like eat trees.
But it turns out trees were a pretty big worry here. Because again, this wasn't an ordinary lake. It's more of an underwater forest. Which means if the sub were to get snagged in the branches of one of these underwater trees, we could get trapped with no way to make it back to the surface while our air just runs out. So with trees on the mind, we set off on our third to last stop.
And it starts to get dark.
Wish we were in clear water.
The entry watch seemed easy, then I saw how murky things got as we descended down. It was hard to stay nervous when the colors were changing so beautifully around me.
Let's go. We're right on the edge of it, Mark. Get all lights on, man. We can't even see anything. Wow, this is so surreal. Looks like we're on a green screen. I need all eyes.
I'm looking straight down, straight down.
Look everywhere.
I was laser focused, even if I couldn't even tell if we were moving at all.
Are you hovering or are you going down?
No, we're still going down.
And I was pretty sure the coast was clear beneath us. Until I wasn't. Because the sub hit something, and I just hoped it wasn't what I thought it was.
We had contact.
Roger, stand by.
And I don't want to give too much away, but a recurring theme of this video is failure and overcoming failure. And that's a skill studies show that can be taught. And that's why I created Crunch Labs, because toys that are too simple are boring, and toys that are too hard are frustrating. But some toys, like all the ones we built here at Crunch Labs, are the perfect balance of challenging and super fun. The best part is they come every month right to your porch, and we build them together with an exclusive video where you get to learn the incredible real-world science that makes them work. So with the holidays coming up, if you want the perfect gift to give or receive, just go to crunchlamps.com or use the link in the video description where to say thank you, giving away 2 free boxes as a holiday special. Now back in the sub, we'd hit rock bottom.
Like, what do? Go straight up?
We appear to be on a bridge beam.
Where? Oh, which was actually, no way, the best case scenario.
We're literally on an underwater bridge right now that's sunk and lost to the world. Cars can no longer drive on this bridge, but in the submarine, we're like cruising along. We're literally on a guardrail right now. Visibility is really low, so it's kind of precarious, but we're getting closer to the city.
Now down in the sub, visibility was once again pretty low because of all the sediment in the water. But we were still able to perform some up-close scans of the structure, and when we combined that with the mesh from the scanning torpedo, we came up with a predicted bridge structure that looked something like this. And later on, after doing some further research, we discovered an actual picture of the bridge from when the lake waters receded from a bad drought a while back. As you can see here, we pretty much spot on. Since the bridge most likely led to the underwater city, we knew we were closing in on the target, but after returning our efforts back to scanning, we stumbled across something completely unexpected.
Oh, look at that.
Wait, is that a plane?
I think it could be.
You can see the height because look at the shadow cast.
2 shadows here that are sticking up high. One could be the tail, and one could be the motor. Look how different it looks than the rocks, right?
This looks really natural. That looks very man-made.
Looks to me like this is perhaps part of a wing.
No way.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Now, what was really interesting about this discovery is if you recall from earlier, there was that plane that vanished into the lake 60 years ago with 4 people on board. And even though their family tried for years to find them, partially due to the extreme murkiness of the water, they were never to be seen again.
So you're telling me we might have just accidentally discovered a wrecked plane on the bottom of this lake?
Yes.
What? Does that happen?
It happened today.
We gotta go check it out. How deep is that?
This is about 220 feet.
Wow.
That depth would be our deepest dive yet, and since we only had 2 dives left, we decided to continue on looking for the lost city, figuring that once we found it, if we had a dive to spare, we'd have ourselves a bonus airplane. And our persistence paid off, because not long after, we got new scans back from a location that historic records indicate the city would most likely be. So it was back in the sub to take our second to last dive straight into the city.
Top side, going down.
Look, I want to put my seatbelt on.
At first, I was just excited to get my eyes on the city.
Are your lights on?
But soon enough, as we descended deeper and deeper, the glass in front of me stayed just as empty. I started to get worried about whether or not I'd even find the city.
Freaking terrible, isn't it?
We were right where the town was supposed to be, but after searching as hard as we could,
We're coming out. We're finished down here.
Copy that.
we came up empty-handed. Now what we were hoping to see would be something similar to this, based off first-hand descriptions of the town and some historical photos from the time, where you'd see one of the 4 saloons with the piano still inside, the general store with pickaxes from Samuel Brandon, California's first millionaire. But instead, what the scan revealed was the foundations of the buildings that looked like this. Because it turns out there was a massive fire that ripped through the entire town, destroying all of the buildings, which was a super critical missing piece of information that in hindsight would have saved me a lot of time and money. Well, our hopes of finding a super cool town were officially dashed. We still had that plane scan, giving us a glimmer of hope of not leaving the lake with just a bridge and a ski boat. The only challenge was it was at the deepest part of the lake, which made me pretty nervous, though we really had enough air for one more dive.
Top dive, my station briefing is complete. My life support systems are on and running, and I am ready to dive. Excellent. All right, here we go.
Let's go see what the heck's down there.
And so with the dive underway, I was really hopeful we were about to close the book on the 60-year-old mystery, giving the family the closure they deserved. And while keeping a lookout for something cool, I saw something that definitely wasn't.
It's okay that water is dripping down.
Yeah, it's just water. Don't worry about it.
Just water, don't worry about things settling over here.
I kept my eyes open and hoped the captain was right, and that this was completely normal.
You just need some pressure on that attack. Get that dynamic.
All right, I trust you, Captain. One of the... More water dripping down, but that's supposed to happen, right?
Yeah, sure.
But as we dove deeper, it was clear something was very, very wrong.
I'm not very good.
This is the home stretch, but as long as we find the plane, the whole trip will be worth it.
Alright, we're going up. Outside we have a severe hatchery. Not certain why. That was not a little dribble. That was a waterfall. This is a failed dive.
Now the best part about being an engineer is you know failure is part of the process. In fact, you almost embrace it because it forces you to rethink your approach and come back with something even better. You develop resilience, which means you can always find a backup plan. And I'm happy to report that today was no exception. Because this was my secret weapon of last resort. Essentially an underwater remote-controlled robot scuba diver who visit the plane for me, capturing scans and sending back a live video feed of the process. So while I wouldn't be seeing the plane with my own two eyes, our friendly robot was going to lend me hers. So with a sub out of commission and the robot in the water, our underwater expedition all came down to this. I knew our chances of success were extremely slim in these super murky waters, in part because there were no backup plans for me.
Don't crash.
This would be our last chance.
And how far away are we? I would say 20 feet.
What is that?
Are you kidding me?
It's the propeller!
The prom's still intact. Yeah, look how lucky that's insane.
As a reminder, the reason this lake holds so many secrets is because the visibility is so poor. But thankfully, we had a workaround. Because just like with the bridge, our plan was to scan the plane section by section, and then once we got back home, we could piece those scans together to see what we'd actually found. So as far as today was concerned, we'd done everything we could, and I felt really good about our efforts. Which meant at this point, after packing up and heading home, all we'd have to do was wait. And we didn't have to wait long. Okay, we've identified the plane. Just got word there's an email in my inbox with a video that stitches together all the pieces of the plane we found. And I do not want to wait till tomorrow at work to view it, so I'm doing it now. The plane we're looking for that was lost 60 years ago is this Piper Comanche 250. Let's go. Okay, to the scan. Doesn't look like this. It's close. What did we find then? And as it turns out, after doing some additional research, this is an LA-4 which matches perfectly with the reports of this exact model of water plane sinking here in 1986. And fortunately, in that case, everyone made it out safely before it went down. And honestly, this felt like a win to me. Because after powering through all the challenges the lake had thrown at us, I still got to make some pretty remarkable personal discoveries, and the lake got to keep her one final secret. at least for now. Learning how to embrace failure as the quickest way to figuring something out is what it means to think like an engineer. So if you want to strengthen that resilience muscle while having a ton of fun along the way, go to crunchlabs.com and use the link in the video description, where we're currently giving away 2 free boxes as a new subscriber special.
Mr. Beast, and this is Mr. Beast's pee. And my goal in this video is to use science to purify this into perfectly drinkable water, at which point he will drink his own pee.
Wait, you didn't tell me that part. I'm gonna drink my own pee?
But it's for a really good cause, because if I can figure out how to do this, then the same technology can be used to help the 2 billion people without access to clean drinking water, to purify even the dirtiest water that looks like this, or even much, much worse. Step 1 was to find a place on the planet where you'd have a really hard time finding clean water, but a really easy time finding clever brains solving that problem. And that just happened to be Kenya. So step 2 was to go there and meet the people doing just that. The first thing you notice when you get to Kenya isn't so much the elephant crossings or the random baboon families you see walking around. It's these yellow jugs you see people carrying everywhere. And it turns out those jugs are meant to carry water. It also turns out we're all headed to the same place I was. Ruthie!
Hey, Mark! Hey!
Who knew Kenya was so far?
But so beautiful. Welcome!
Very beautiful. I'll take you back. This lovely human is Ruthie, and she works for Give Power, and they build a magical machine that can turn even the most disgusting water into pure drinking water using only the power of the sun.
So we change literal ocean water into fresh drinking water. I'll have a taste. I think you like it.
Don't try and influence the judgment. When I tasted a cup of water from either side of their treatment process, hopes and prayers, let's go. With the before water, you can really taste the before. That tastes like seawater.
It is seawater.
This is what people drink.
Yes.
And the reason for that is 96% of the homes you see here don't have running water, which means they often have to get their water from unclean sources that carry a lot of uncool diseases. So while you and I might take for granted that we can just pull a lever and effectively infinite clean water comes out from the faucet, 2 billion people don't have that luxury, so they need to get creative. In this case, by turning the entire ocean into a very old water tower. And I'm so glad they did, because that meant when I tried the after cup, that is crazy the difference.
Right?
This tastes amazing. This tastes fresh. This was in the ocean less than 24 hours ago.
It was
Wow. So like no fish poop,
no fish pool, no cholera,
giardia,
no dysentery, nothing.
not even dysentery. And understand how this is even possible. I built a simplified, transparent version of their magic machine back at home and decided to put it to the ultimate test. I don't like the noise. Gotta turn it on. So if you pump out the dirty water from here, and after all this, a little bit of extra clean water should come out here. And to put my engineering money where my mouth is, I vowed I would drink that water. Hey, why am I even doing this?
2 billion people in the world drink poison every single day, and we've got to do something about it.
By the way, this is Hayes. He's the dude that founded Give Power, and he did it after making a pretty obvious observation.
73% of people in the world live in coastal communities. So it seems ludicrous to me that we have these oceans with all this water, yet 2 billion people lack access to fresh, affordable water.
So their trick to solve the problem is to mount reverse osmosis water filter systems in shipping containers, which not only makes them easy to ship, but now you can just plop the thing next to a large dirty water source, even in a totally remote location with no power, and you can make 70,000 liters of water per day. Now for some perspective, this is a half a liter of water, and this is 70,000 liters of water. That is how much ocean water is magically being transformed into fresh drinking water just in one location every single day. And it's all fully solar powered. So with my digestive system on the line, it's worth explaining exactly how their magic machine works. Let's say you have 2 buckets, one with totally pure water and one that has a bunch of salt and gross stuff in it along with pure water. Well, if you connect them, then separate them with a barrier that has holes so small only tiny pure water molecules can get through, what you'll find is over time, the pure water molecules all on their own will pass through those tiny holes in the barrier to spread out and hang out with more of their pure water molecule friends over here. In nature, that's called osmosis. Reverse osmosis is where we do that backwards. We apply a bunch of pressure to the dirty bucket, and that basically squeezes any pure water molecules through that membrane, while all the salt and other junk can't make it through. So the good news is, you've got all this fresh water
selling the water at a discounted rate to the guys who come by with all the yellow jugs like Miguela, those human water pipes, and then deliver the water for a small profit, incentivizing them to deliver as much as they can to those who need it, and this way all the money stays in their community.
If they're not home, we can just leave it here, right? It's crazy that this fresh drinking water was just in the ocean yesterday, and now it's in their house, ready to use for anything. How many cans do you deliver a day? 100? And you push all of them? I'm gonna stick to making YouTube videos.
Speaking of which,
It seems to be working. Oh gosh. Actually, more is coming out than I anticipated. Backup cop, hold on. You're sure this is gonna work?
Well, I didn't build it, but I believe the technology.
Oh boy. It does look clear. That is a good sign. Moment of truth. I'm turning it off. That looks like pretty dang clear water. Oh boy. Smells like water. That's a good first sign. Why am I so nervous? Still smells like clean water. Now to be fair, my only saving grace here is that 3 minutes and 59 seconds later in this video, Mr. Beast is gonna have to do something very simple. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Does that have to be a big sip? It's gold. It's a gold!
Put it down!
I never agreed to a gold.
Be brave. Oh, believe in engineering. Believe in science. Believe in a better way.
Tastes like very fresh water. That is incredible. From this, it just leaks out all the little pure water molecules. Now I'm feeling refreshed. So at one location, we make 70,000 liters a day.
That's right. And everything we don't sell, we give away.
let's go! And this was actually my favorite part about everything we do. And it's something Ruthie mentioned when I got to ride along for one of those deliveries.
So we choose schools and hospitals and children's orphanages and we build all that hotel.
Hit it! The pump is started!
And when speaking to the principal of one of those schools, the real impact of all this hit me.
Okay, here we go!
Because ever since their school started getting clean water deliveries, attendance is doubled because this is the only access to clean water they have.
Want some more?
And he said this means not only have so many of their stomach and health issues improved, but now they don't have to spend time every day fetching dirty water. So they have more time to attend school and invest in their future. And seeing these lovely fellow humans, despite living on the other side of the planet, are so similar to us in so many ways, find such joy and appreciation for the simple, fresh plastic water was a good reminder of what can happen when the power of engineering is used for good, even for something as basic as fresh, clean water.
Okay, so you want me to pour my pee in that bucket?
That's right.
Oh my gosh, this is gross.
It's for science. All right, Jimmy. Well, thanks to the power of reverse osmosis, time has come.
Oh my gosh.
How you feeling?
If I taste any pee particles, I'm spitting this on you.
How much do you believe in the science?
You want to just do it?
No. Before Jimmy drinks this, if you're watching this video, we need your help getting water purifying systems like this to kids and people who need it all over the world. So buckle up, because the next 30 days are going to be crazy.
You might remember 5 years ago we did Team Trees, and we raised $20 million to plant 20 million trees. Huge success. So afterwards, we did Team Seas. We raised $30 million to pull 30 million pounds of trash out of the ocean. Also, huge success. Which brings us now here today to Team Water, where we have the insane, audacious goal to raise $40 million to give 2 billion people all around the world clean water for decades.
That means on average, every $1 we raise gives one human clean water for a year.
What if I do 20 bucks?
Bam! Now it will last 20 years.
Just using this machine?
No. To scale this up and pull this off, we've been working with WaterAid because they're the best. They've been doing this for over 40 years. They've got a 4-star Charity Navigator score, and they can make sure the clean water goes to 2 million people all across the world.
But to do that, we need to raise $40 million, which truthfully, me and Mark Rober can't do on our own. Which is why we have all the biggest and smallest creators on every social media platform coming together to make content on Team Water to help us hit our $40 million goal. I'm so excited for Team Water. I'm in for Team Water. Team Water. Team Water? Let's do this.
So join all your favorite creators on Team Water by watching and sharing all the Team Water content you see for the next month, and then by heading to teamwater.org and giving as much as you can afford right now.
With all the division and doom and gloom online today, this is one of those rare moments where we all get to push in the same direction and do something really meaningful. It's a chance to prove the best parts that make us humans still exist in abundance, and that young people can be a catalyst for positive change in the world. I am so stoked. We totally got this.
All right, Jimmy, no more stalling. Let's see it.
Oh, gosh. Just gonna close my eyes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, tastes like clean water.
Hashtag science. This is the most epic birthday party ever. It's got a jet-powered tire swing, a custom-built roller coaster, and an indoor sledding hill with actual snow. And I set all this up to surprise the world's most deserving kid.
Safety is for losers!
3 months ago, none of this existed, because that's when I reached out to a friend of mine who many consider to be the greatest engineer this world has ever known.
Oh, hey, Mark.
Phineas! I'm planning on throwing the world's greatest birthday party for this kid named Ethan. I can explain later. For now, I need to know if you've got any ideas.
Oh, that's a great question, Mark. One time, Ferb and I made the world's first rocket-powered tire swing. You'll just need a tire, your standard Ilmon parts. Don't forget your high-powered rockets. Oh, and as you can see, as long as you don't remove this screw, you'll be fine.
You do realize that breaks like 7 laws of physics, right?
Well, we're working with cartoon physics, but I trust you can figure it out. In the meantime, I was thinking Ferb and I could take a crack at your world record-breaking elephant toothpaste experiment.
I think we both have our work cut out for us. I'll talk to you later. Now, I know from personal experience, if you can pull off a Phineas and Ferb invention in real life, it makes for a really epic party with 15 tons of jello to spare. But the problem here was their rocket-powered tire swing leaned very heavily on the creative boundaries of cartoon physics, with estimated peak forces that would be 35 times what a human could endure. So as a first pass, I just slapped 2 rockets with 2,500 Newton-seconds total impulse to a single chain mounted to a tire swing that generously gave our 180-pound crash test dummy Newton first dibs on the ride of his life. Initiator is on. This is to test my hypothesis why Phineas and Ferb is an animated show. 3, 2, 1. And after the smoke cleared, we lost our fans. That was the most powerful dancing in history. The single chain is going to make it tough. So to keep us from immediately spinning out of control and potentially losing all our dignity in the process, we doubled the chains for more stability. Here we go. And this time, let it rip. The exact same thing happened. No, you can't keep this close on. I think only one of them ignited. And a high-speed camera replay revealed that's exactly what happened. So once we fixed the faulty ignition wire, we tried again. Go! Awesome Newton, which I'll remind you weighs more than I do, to launch 10 feet into the air, completing the stylish dismount.
That was definitely both that time.
And Susan, that's a W! And while the dual chain configuration did provide a lot more stability, the slow-mo revealed there was really no way to reliably keep the thrust vector aligned in the best direction to loop us around. This is too squirrely. We need to go to rigid chains. So to fix that, we swapped the 2 chains with 2 solid rods. Igniter's hot. 3, 2, 1, go! As you can see here, the rocket forces were so high, it ripped our entire half-ton steel swing structure out from the stakes, anchoring it into the ground. Alright, well that's a successful rocket swing. Now we just gotta figure out how to make it slightly more safe. So we were off to a promising start. We just needed a little more inspiration.
Hey, Mark, how's the film?
It's got a little work left, but it's getting less lethal by the minute. I do feel though, the party needs a little something more.
I've got it. How about you build them a backyard roller coaster like the one we made at the beginning of summer? Steel tracks, cars with seatbelts, and of course, be sure to add extra thermal shielding for when you re-enter the atmosphere.
Aren't you a little young to be building things that require extra thermal shielding for when they re-enter the atmosphere?
Yes, I am. Well, good luck. Oh, gotta go. First, just arrived with our star of the show.
No! Phineas, you don't need to
Talk to you later, Mark.
That's gonna get messy. Now, the good thing about roller coasters is unlike 2-story tall rocket-powered tire swings, roller coasters actually exist. So I did what any self-respecting engineer would do as a first step and conducted some tedious research. Now, I knew that finding the perfect Goldilocks zone for our birthday guest would be critical. Not so extreme it sends him back to the hospital, but also not so boring it feels like watching William Osmond videos. So armed with all the learnings from our tedious research, we set out to build the perfect indoor roller coaster for my buddy Ethan. By the way, this is Ethan. And what you should know about Ethan is he was recently diagnosed with a rare and severely debilitating neurological condition that left him bedridden, causing him to miss most of the school year. In fact, his pain and nausea was so severe, he couldn't even walk from one room to another. But the other thing you should know about Ethan is he's incredibly resilient, and after a full year, he recovered enough to make his way back to school. And as luck would have it, he not only had a birthday party coming up, but he was also a massive Phineas and Ferb fan, which was perfect because we had our first prototype of the world's greatest Phineas and Ferb indoor roller coaster ready to test.
Okay, man, here we go. Let's go.
I think we're gonna have to check our calculations. So I called up some of my buddies who are really good at this, and they introduced me to the efficiency of their calculations, while I introduced them to the efficiency of a 10-second build montage. And while not yet perfect, we were certainly on the right track. Now we just needed a few more of them. Good. And things were coming along great. If I was going to get approval for the world's most creative engineer, it would need a little something extra. So I took a closer look at their original coaster, and while we definitely can't send Ethan to France, we definitely could send him through a snake drop, a mud bucket, and a full-on car wash. Snakes on a train in 3, 2, 1. Snakes, check. This build was elegant. Our snakes pairing beautifully with a catapult-calibrated mud pad. Ah!
That's why we're safety glasses.
Why are you smiling so much?
You ready? Clean me off! Followed by a cleansing soap scrub infused with eucalyptus oil at 40 miles an hour.
That I'm good.
There need a bit of a rinse off. And finally air drying with a gentle breeze.
Okay.
Clean as a whistle. Now with both the roller coaster and the rocket suit pretty much ready to go, I opted for a check.
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
I mean, it's getting there, but how do we really make this the best birthday party ever?
How about winter? It's like summer in winter. All you need is a snow cone maker and a bunch of jet-powered fans. But be sure to keep your windows closed. You really don't want to bring winter inside your house.
Yes, you pointed-headed genius. I think you're onto something.
All right. Oh, while I have you, Herb and I were wondering if your elephant preferred mint or bubblegum flavoring.
Neither. Don't you boys think you're taking this a little too literally?
No, we don't.
All right, well,
See that?
Snowing indoors? Are gonna scream. Turns out a lot harder than the cartoon solution of snow cone makers and fans. So I invited out an old friend to help.
oh my God. This is crazy.
This is Fletcher. If he looks familiar to you, that's because 5 years ago I surprised him with a special birthday party of his own where he triggered the first ever devil's toothpaste explosion and then broke the world record for the highest elephant toothpaste experiment. At the time, Fletcher was dealing with a very rare form of brain cancer, and since so many of you have asked for an update over the years, here it is.
I'm 5 years free of any sign of disease, and I'm a senior in high school that's going to college.
And you are almost as tall as me. I'm gonna say still taller. As I explained to him the engineering challenge of creating a non-cartoon indoor snowstorm, Fletcher was all in.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, the problem is I don't know how.
Don't look at me.
With that uninspiring kickoff, we decided just to try some items we had lying around Crunch Labs. Farther than I was expecting. Our first thought was grating styrofoam, but it turns out that's not only dangerous. Ow! Just grated my finger. But the static electricity buildup means it would rather stick to you than the ground. Next up was using that water-absorbing polymer you find in diapers, but it turns out it's not very good for making snowballs. It's way too slippery. I'm good. And on top of that, the amount of diapers required would be half a metric butt ton, which all left us with only one option. Hold this. Here we go! Dumping 80,000 pounds of actual ice into a wood chip.
I think it's gonna work! God!
Once I came in to check things out, all right, Fletch, what do you think? It didn't take long for Fletcher to let the power go to his head.
Mark, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. But this is gonna work great. Now that we had a solution in hand, I needed Fletcher's help on one last finishing touch. Oh, it was Nathan. After which, he abruptly told me he had What? Man, this is gonna take a while. A lot longer now with one person! We're making snow! Let's go! And 4 hours and 40 tons of ice later, all that was left was to nail the surprise. 8 months of planning and work comes down to this moment. There he is. Oh gosh, my heart is about to beat out of my chest. We had Ethan's parents tell him he was auditioning for a toy commercial so he wouldn't suspect anything when he laid eyes on a balloon-laden indoor roller coaster resting on 2 feet of freshly packed snow.
That's cold.
But I had to act fast because Ethan was catching on quick.
Why is there a crunch lounge?
Hey Ethan, what's going on, pal?
No.
I thought you might need a code.
Wait, I'm so confused.
What is your favorite cartoon?
Phineas and Ferb, probably?
Have you seen the episode where they make the rocket-powered swing?
Yeah.
Have you seen the episode where they send the roller coaster to space?
Yeah.
Have you seen the episode, Ethan, called Swinter, where they turn inside into winter?
Yeah.
This is Phineas and Ferb in real life. We're throwing you a birthday party today.
What?
You know what a banger party means, Ethan?
A birthday cake?
It does need a cake. Let's work on a cake. You know what it also needs, though? I feel like we should have more people here. Do you have friends you'd want to invite?
Yeah.
And that was the cue to send in all of Ethan's best friends. And also his loudest friends. Including his little sister, which meant that he had an important decision to make. Ethan, is it okay if they all hang out with us?
Ethan, you better say yes. $5. I have 77 cents. Okay, that was my rule. Yeah!
But when you guys say we start with the rocket swing. But before we kick off the party, I realize you're probably looking for a good way to spend your 104 days of summer vacation. Well, look no further, because it's here and it's called Camp Crunch Labs. Camp Crunch Labs is your key to fighting that summer brain drain. With an 8-week virtual space-themed summer camp that hops to each of the planets in our solar system. Featuring weekly videos with mega experiments that I do, and super challenges that you do. And the best of these weekly challenge submissions earns one of these bad boys, a platinum ticket, giving you the chance to join me on my favorite planning for the biggest mega experiment of them all in the final episode of the summer. On top of that, usually the Crunch Labs pillboxes will build a super fun toy together, learning all the juicy physics how they work comes once a month. But to coincide with Space Camp Crunch Labs weekly challenges and videos all summer long, we'll ship them to you every week. Let's go. So if you want an 8-week summer camp where you can travel the cosmos while learning to think like an engineer, with an absolute 0% chance of bug bites and poison ivy, head to campcrunchlabs.com to reserve one of the limited spots, and I'll see you in camp. Back at the party, it's time to see if I'd actually accomplish turning 3 Phineas and Ferb cartoon marvels into real life. Starting first with the rocket swing. You guys want to see a gun? You might notice we swapped the rockets out for a pair of 24-volt electric turbines. This provided 2 advantages. First, we learned from testing that big rockets make a lot of smoke. It's not ideal for your lungs or your smoker. And second, if you pulse the turbines at the exact natural frequency of the swing, which is exactly what you naturally do when you pump your legs on a swing, by the way, well, then you can add more and more energy to the swing until it has enough to clear the bar. And even with their modifications, a thought suddenly occurred to me.
That seems really dangerous!
My protest fell on deaf ears.
Safety is for losers!
Seeing as he was such a tough guy all of a sudden, I decided to use Ethan to get a baseline. Here we go! To see how high you can swing if you just had to rely on your orbital muscles. Wow! And the answer was pretty much horizontal. Ethan, you're kind of going high. Now it's my turn to see what would happen if you added 14,000 RPMs of propulsion. Okay, are you guys ready? Of course, the #1 rule when demoing a potentially disastrous engineering build at a kid's birthday is that you definitely want to do it before you...
I've never done this before!
What do you mean you've never done this before? Have you been tested?
get off of the bike.
That looks so nauseating.
Ethan, you're next!
No!
Before we got to the big roller coaster finale, I decided we should take a little winter break, starting with some snow cones
Who ready for a snowball fight?
and some snowballs. However, unfortunately for them, certain habits are hard to kick.
Who's next?
That was nice.
And then suddenly, and very undeservedly, I might add, I wasn't over my head.
Wait, why is everyone eating at me? Okay, troops. Who wants to go sledding?
Ethan was really encouraging with his friends. That is when he wasn't attacking them. Go back! After we had our fill with snowballs and sledding, it's time to test out the final and most audacious Phineas and Ferb in real-life engineering build. Now, up the stakes, Ethan reminded me what their coaster was actually like in the show.
There was like snakes and like a car wash and a bunch of stuff.
So, if this is really Phineas and Ferb,
Be a triangle.
oh yeah, if this is Phineas and Ferb, in a triangle, fair.
But I wasn't gonna make Ethan ride solo, so I had no choice but to buckle up.
I'm nervous! Ethan, are you nervous?
3, 2,
Oh God!
1, go!
And while the snakes were fake, the mud was real. The funnest stuff, of course, was to rinse off in Science Bob's 20-mile-an-hour car wash. Or pulling to a halt in front of a massive blow dryer so we could dry off.
Nice and clean. You won't have to shower tonight, at least.
I doubt that, but
So now that all three of our inventions were tested and Ethan approved,
thank you.
it was time to give Ethan a well-deserved 15-second party montage.
Ethan, I also have a confession. I didn't pull this off on my own. I had a little help. Hey, Phineas! Look what we did!
Whoa, for not relying on cartoon physics? That looks so fun. I'm happy it all worked out for you. Now for the elephant toothpaste experiment.
Whoa, make sure Ferb isn't too close.
Whoops.
Wow, it looks like you got a lot of cleanup on your hand. You want us to help?
Actually, our cleanup usually takes care of itself. See? No muss, no fuss. Bye, Mark.
Sorry, Ethan, but that trick will not work in real life.
Am I cleaning up?
Now grab a shovel and let's clean this up.
Now that Ethan's been given the best birthday ever, why not join us for the best summer ever? Space Camp Crunch Time. The 8-week virtual space-themed summer camp designed to help fight that summer brain drain. So check out campcrunchlots.com for parents to reserve one of the limited spots, and I'll see you at camp. This is essentially a 1.2 million 22-story building violently launched into space. And 35 of those 1.2 million pounds is something I spent $5 million in the last 3 years of my life creating, which is the reason right here that I'm trying my hardest not to lose my lunch. But if we succeeded, there would be a satellite in space that could wirelessly receive your picture from down here on Earth and then display that picture on a screen in space, where it would snap you an actual selfie over any location on the planet. And I made a secret promise: if we somehow pulled this off, I would make use of the selfie satellite free forever to anyone on the planet. But before I can make good on that promise, we need to reach 2 very difficult milestones. The first of which was just escaping Earth's gravity. with a successful rocket launch, where there's a million things that can happen, only one of which is good. And second, the satellite would need to boot up and transform itself into selfie mode, assuming it even survived the violent launch. Because if any one of the 7,836 parts that make up the satellite break, there's absolutely no way to fix them, which would mean I invested 3 years and $5 million with absolutely nothing to show for it. For milestone 1, the plan was to throw a giant watch party with a bunch of my subscribers at an airport a few miles away from the actual launch pad.
My God. All right, right at the literally ready for liftoff. What if that happens tomorrow as like launches happen?
I think we gotta stick a camera on it and ask him to shoot for us, right?
This, by the way, is Tim Dodd, aka Everyday Astronaut, the rocket whisperer of the internet. And I'd like to once and for all point out that in this clip, where he's talking to Elon about the Starship hot gas thrusters,
You don't even need a cold gas thruster system. You already have hot gas.
But this is only for the booster, right?
Yes.
where Elon considers his suggestion on the spot,
Although arguably, now you mention it, might be wise to do this for the ship too. We're gonna fix that.
and then 7 months later says this.
I'd say that's like one of the biggest improvements that we've made.
That is Tim behind the camera, not me. Because it feels like stolen valor every couple months when the internet mistakenly credits this exchange to me.
How many of these have you seen here?
At Vandenberg, I've never seen one with my own eyes because it's always foggy.
Dang it! That's why they call it fog and burn.
And it turns out for the US government, all that fog is not a bug, it's a feature. Because one of the reasons they placed the base here in the height of the Cold War was because the persistent cloud cover would better hide the nuclear missile silos that were once placed here from all the Russian spy satellites.
Which is great for hiding stuff from the Soviets, bad for a live stream rocket launch. So there's a good chance tomorrow it's foggy and we see nothing. Like it would just be all cloud.
I mean, I'm talking where you can't even see like 100 feet in front of you, that foggy.
Wow.
So after a bit of party prep, we headed over to the launch site.
This is a heck of a place to launch a rocket.
So Tim could set up a bunch of remote trigger cameras to capture some beautiful slow-mo launch footage. And once the sun went down, the rockets came up.
So after a long day, we're all set up here. We just went through the run show for the live stream. I think we're in good shape. It all just comes down tomorrow. I'm getting a good night's rest tonight. And we have a big, massive rocket bounce house. No one's guarding the entrance. I feel like Neil Armstrong. To infinity and beyond. It's actually pretty fun. Uh-oh, max height 76. How much is 76 inches in feet?
76 inches is equivalent to 6 feet 4 inches.
I'm good. I know before we get in trouble.
Alright, headed over to the launch site. I slept as poorly last night as I haven't over a year. I'm very nervous. There's just a lot at stake here. There's just so many things that could go wrong. Not just today, but as the satellite goes up. But it's like that nervous excitement pit in your stomach that makes you want to jump for joy and puke in the toilet. This is the clearest morning you'll ever see here at Vandenberg Space Force Base, so it's a very good omen. And after meeting some of our first robotics volunteers,
What up, guys? Thanks for coming out. Let's do this. Let's do this.
photobombing some selfies, Tim and I did a final practice run through, 5 minutes.
We're going out to start hyping the crowd up.
Welcome everyone to the live stream, to this launch. And switched on the live stream.
We're live.
We're live. That's a big moment. We're live. Woo! Feeling the nerds.
Now, as a reminder, the rocket has 15 minutes to launch, catch the first stage rocket, and then make sure it lands safely, and then activate the second stage, at which point it can then push out all the satellites. Nailing that perfectly is the only way we avoid the million things that could go wrong.
What's up, everyone? You guys ready for a rocket launch?
We kick things off with a little bit of science, making some clouds, a bit of fire breathing.
I'm a dragon!
And even took some questions from the crowd, like this first question about how all this compares to the Mars rover.
Honestly, like, I haven't felt this feeling for about a decade.
7 years of my life and career come down to about 7 minutes.
It's just this feeling of nervous anticipation, but there's like nothing I can do. We've done everything we can, it's out of our hands, right?
Touchdown to club. Proceed.
Everything in life is a dice roll, but you just have to stay
heading out into a sun-synchronous orbit.
Same orbit, spy satellites have. Doesn't like when I say that.
Oh, there's so this is a live shot of the actual Falcon 9 rocket with Zach Gus. Zach Gus is in there. This thing's actually huge. It's about 22 stories tall.
We're sending a building to space today.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get a minute out. This is like 3 years of blood, sweat, tears, hard work from me and my team. There's a lot on the line here. Woo. Okay, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Winner!
Carbon being turned off in kerosene. It's almost as bright as the sun. So you'll notice it'll start to get dimmer as the atmosphere. That's the rumble I'm talking about.
That's the rumble!
That's what I look for, Mark.
Wow! That's incredible.
That's a 22-story tall building flying into space.
Just fighting gravity. Oh, feel that rumble!
So now we'll cut off here in a second. Right there. There's the cut off. Now we're going to see the second stage eject, and we're going to start seeing my favorite thing in the world, which is boost backwards. There's second stage ignition. Now we're running on a single lane 1D vacuum engine. And the booster is turning around right now. It's going to light its engines again for the boost back burn. There it is. You can start to see that extra exhaust going almost the wrong way. That's the booster coming home, guys. It's probably somewhere around those clouds, maybe higher. Oh, right up there. Once entry burn ends, you'll be shocked at how fast it's coming down. But you can still see it.
Wow!
There we go. Look at how fast it's coming down.
Wow!
Clouds,
That
look at the
is
clouds.
cruising! Wow!
Huge. Falling back right to the landing site. You can see a good smoke trail. This is easy to track now. You're going to think like, okay, when's it lighting? When's it lighting? Come on, baby. Turn on those heads. Wow! But it waits until the last second. There it is! Landing right there. Now we're not going to hear the sonic boom in the engine for almost another minute again. So it is about to land. You see on the screen, it's about to touch down. It's deploying its landing legs. Right there, landing legs deployed. And right about when it touches down, it's probably when we will hear the sonic boom. So get ready. Here it comes.
Touchdown!
Yeah, baby, here comes the sonic boom.
Wait for it. Maybe science isn't working.
Stage 2 is about to turn off its engine, which will officially put Zach Gus in orbit. Hopefully that helps you sleep just a little bit better tonight.
I gotta be honest with you guys, that was kind of emotional. Growing up, looking out at the stars and just like thinking about who we are and the potential of us as humans. And then, I got to work at NASA, and that was an amazing experience for the rover, but like, do your own hardware and also make it like a full circle moment with you guys. A lot of good pictures on this thing. And so kind of being that proud of this incredible thing you guys can do to help the world and humanity. This is wonderful. This feels really good. Thank you guys so much for coming out here.
I can't believe it like actually all worked out.
It's more emotional than I thought. It's like a lot of work for a lot of people. I don't know, there's something about this like progress of humanity represented in that, right? And just like the power of engineering to be good. I don't know, it's just overwhelming. So cool. So cool. That was awesome. That was like cooler than I was expecting. Could you imagine if it was just walked over?
Phenomenal work insertion.
After receiving word Zach Gus was about 1 minute away from being pushed away from the second stage to orbit all alone, I ran over to watch it happen.
You're next. You're next.
Let's go, Zach Gus.
Oh, there's something.
Zach Gus, separation confirmed.
You are free flying.
You did your part. Now we got to do ours.
Good luck, man.
Whew. Still kind of riding the adrenaline high from all that, but we've got one down now, one to go. SpaceX has done their job. Now it's up to us and our engineering to see if we're actually getting space selfies back from this thing. Now there is a silver lining to all this waiting, because now I've got the perfect chance to show you my backyard, which you might notice now isn't even on this planet. Because this year we're taking Camp Crunch Labs to space. What the heck is Camp Crunch Labs, you ask? Camp Crunch Labs is your key to fighting the summer brain trip. With an 8-week virtual space-themed summer camp that hops to each of the planets in our solar system. Featuring weekly videos with mega experiments that I do, and super challenges that you do. And the best of these weekly challenge submissions earns one of these bad boys, a platinum ticket, giving you the chance to join me on my favorite planet for the biggest mega experiment of them all in the final episode of the summer. On top of that, usually the Crunch Labs build boxes where we build a super fun toy together, learning all the juicy physics how they work comes once a month. But to coincide with Space Camp Crunch Labs weekly challenges and videos all summer long, we'll ship them to you every week. Let's go. So if you want an 8-week summer camp where you can travel the cosmos while learning to think like an engineer, with an absolute 0% chance of bug bites and poison ivy, head to campcrunchlabs.com to reserve one of the limited spots, and I'll see you in camp. So with camp well on its way and milestone 1 completed, now we head to nail milestone 2, booting up a hopefully still functioning satellite and taking the first picture. And part 1 of pulling that off was scheduling some time to shore up my confidence. So that when the big morning came, I wouldn't be terrified out of my mind. I'm absolutely terrified out of my mind. We got my good luck peanuts. We got the tea.
Thank you all for taking time to join us today. Welcome to SATCOS Mission Control.
And with the formalities out of the way, it was finally time to see if we actually had a working satellite. What do we have to do to get it started?
Just say go.
Go.
We're ready for commissioning.
Oh, no! Okay, so step 1, this is the boot up, right?
Yeah, this is our flight computer, and we're waiting for a sign that it is alive, and hopefully it'll be booting up soon.
A boot up was the first of 7 steps we would need to pass in order to achieve mission success, including things like unfolding the solar panels and deploying the camera. And we'd be writing this process out alongside our incredibly talented build and operation partners at Tyvek International, based in Turin, Italy. Is 3 minutes supposed to be how long it takes for a boot up?
It should take about 5 minutes.
Why did you start with that, Ian? And by the way, for reals, it may not work, and I think it's important we preach like failure's part of the process. It's gonna be devastating. It stings, it should suck. But then we get to try again, stoked about how much we've learned.
Should we pass around a good luck peanuts?
Oh yeah. So there's a tradition at NASA JPL regarding peanuts, because in the early 1960s, they had a string of 6 failed missions trying to send a satellite to the moon. But on the 7th attempt, the flight manager brought some peanuts to hand out to the team, and that mission was successful, effectively breaking the curse. Ever since that day at JPL, when they have like a launch situation like this, they bring peanuts. Of course, they don't believe in superstitions, but holy crap. We're covered. And after what felt like an eternity, that's a huge milestone, because it's like we have a heartbeat. That's a big one.
The next thing that's going to happen is the solar array is going to unfold. Here we go. Yes!
It was for 7. Step 3 was to deploy the high-power antennas. Without these guys, there'd be no way to upload or download any pictures. It would be a mission failure.
Right now it's deploying the antennas. If it jams, there's no hope of fixing it.
Now at this point, SATCOS was just about halfway to being fully operational. But now came the critical moment to test the antennas with our first full contact with one of our ground stations on Earth.
We're coming up on our first ground station pass above Antarctica, so hopefully within the next 30 seconds we will see that we are communicating with the satellite. Something's not right. Stand by. passed by McMurdo ground station and we did not hear from it.
Now, one of the challenging things about talking with a satellite that's moving 5 miles per second is that as fast as it enters communication range, then leaves it. So we only have a few minutes to make contact until it's once again out of sight, and we have to wait to try again from an entirely different ground station somewhere else on Earth. In our case,
Next ground station is Svalbard, and that will occur hopefully in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
we really got sucked out of this room. Where are the Oh, crap. Everything's going to pot. That's true, man. That is a sign. We did a whole campaign, $30 million, like not litter, like Team C's. And this would just be like a big hunk of space litter. So on the way, this is a great time to shout out T-Mobile and Google Pixel for being bold enough to partner with me on what could potentially be the most expensive failure of my life. T-Mobile was the perfect choice because they're the first and only US wireless provider with a satellite-to-mobile network. That means when you're off the grid, your phone automatically connects to satellites like a floating cell tower. No downloading apps or learning new tech, it just works. So if you can see the sky, you can send a text message. And then the Google Pixel was perfect because of its bright, high-resolution display. On top of that, even though it definitely wasn't designed to work in space, the inherent durability of this phone meant it absolutely crushed all our testing when we exposed it to all the super harsh space environments it'd be facing. Back at mission control, after 20 minutes of waiting,
So in this minute, we should have another shot of this. Come on, say I guess.
SatBus was hopefully about to come into range of the next ground station.
Oh, there it is.
Now that we had some kind of communication established, there we go, we're on the board! We looked at the telemetry data and realized what had happened. Instead of the satellite looking nice and relatively stable like this, it was actually tumbling much more than expected, which meant the antennas weren't getting a clear line of sight to Earth. Luckily, our partners at Tyvek had thought of this possibility, and the satellite autonomously began using its torque rods to de-spin SatCast to the point that they were able to get a more solid connection with the ground stations on Earth. However, for step 5, we needed to be totally stable to start taking pictures.
Yeah, the torque rods weren't enough so far to de-spin the satellite. It was not supposed to be rotating this fast. The satellite is still spinning too fast for the reactor.
What is it? What is the speed now?
Around 3 to 4 degrees
Well, that's
per
good.
second.
We're a little bit slower, especially because I'm almost on it. I don't even like peanuts.
It's gonna be still tumbling too fast. We're at just shy of 2 degrees per second.
The torque rods did their job and slowed the satellite down enough so that we could activate the reaction wheels and get it to a perfect stop. We had made it this far, and now it was time for the final 2 steps. Could we deploy a hopefully fully functioning camera and screen to start taking pictures? Oh, yeah! Yeah!
We have confirmation of camera deployment.
And that's a picture from space! And now that the camera deployed, this means we had an actual live video feed in space for what would hopefully be a successful final step with the deployment of the screen.
We're looking at a video feed right now from the camera on SatGus, and we should see the display deploying.
At that point, there's only one thing left to do. Alright, the first ever selfie from space! I've been a big dreamer for as long as I can. So as a fist bump to all the other big dreamers out there who will one day do way more important things than I've ever done, I'm happy to declare that from today forward, taking a space selfie with Fat Gus is officially free forever to anyone on this incredible planet of ours. I'm ready to embark in space with Fat Gus. You're now ready to embark on your least boring summer ever with Camp Crunchland, an 8-week virtual space-themed summer camp designed to help fight that summer brain drain. So go to campcrunchland.com with the characters, reserve one of the limited spots, and
and for all, why do you land in the same spot if you jump inside the train, but not if you jump on top of the train? But I'm not stopping there.
Because today we're going to investigate 5 more physics and engineering puzzles using simple demonstrations as we go.
Because our goal by the end of this video is not for you just to know the right answers, but more importantly for you to understand why they're the right answers. To kick things off, I've got a science riddle for you that most people get wrong. What is the first man-made object to break the sound barrier?
In other words, an object that travels more than 767 miles per hour through the air, exceeding the speed of sound, thereby creating a super loud sonic boom.
So what do you think? Most people I ask say either a bullet or a rocket or even a jet plane, but this set goes way back, like 5,000 years way back.
Because the first man-made object to break the speed of sound is a whip. The sound you just heard was literally a sonic boom, which means at the peak of its motion, the tip of the whip is moving faster than 767 miles per hour.
Okay, so if you got that right, time for a bonus question. What's almost surely the first time you yourself heard a sonic boom?
Here's your clue. It's a near statistical certainty that everyone has the same answer for this going back millions of years.
That's right, thunder.
Basically, the lightning superheats the air 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun, and this causes the air to expand so rapidly it breaks the sound barrier once again, creating a sonic boom.
And if that juicy nugget of knowledge just made your brain feel really good, ow! Make that sound cooler in post. Buckle up, because we've got 6 more to go, including at number 2.
Have you ever noticed when grabbing drinks from a cooler that even though they have the same amount of liquid inside, regular Coke sinks, yet Diet Coke floats?
Now, why would that be?
Well, our first clue is that we know less dense objects like this cork float, and more dense objects like this bolt sink. However, that's not only true about different objects, it's true about different liquids too. Like for salad dressing, how the less dense oil floats on the more dense vinegar.
And sure enough, when we compare their respective labels,
You'll notice one glaring difference. Regular Coke has more than 3 tablespoons of real sugar, which makes this can more dense than the Diet Coke, which just has artificial sweetener. That means this one's just a little less dense than water, causing it to float, while this one's just a little more dense than water, causing it to sink. But we can take this to the next level. Here I have a wall that I filled with 8 different household liquids, from honey, dish soap, to baby oil, and they naturally stack themselves with increasing density as you go down. So if we dump, let's say, a bunch of golf balls in, they'll sink like a Coke can through all the layers until they hit a layer that's more dense than they are, at which point the golf balls stop falling and come to rest on top of that layer.
are you kidding me?
Which means you can have a different item come to rest on every layer.
Whoa!
As long as you spend way more time than you care to invent testing way more items than you care to invent.
This was a nice one.
But in the end, it's not hard to rationalize the waste of time when it looks this cool. By the way, you can make a simple version of this yourself at home by filling a drinking glass with baby oil and colored water and then plopping in a Lego guy to ride the ocean wave. This obviously works with household liquids, but what if the liquid was metal? This bowl is 24 pounds of mercury.
It's hard to get submerged by hand in you.
Which means if I take an actual cast iron anvil, it should float like a Diet Coke.
Let's test it out.
Look at that. I mean, I understand the science behind this, but it still breaks your brain. This is actual cast iron. It's heavy,
And yet when you put it in mercury, it bobs like a cork.
let's go bobbing for anvils. For number 3, a while back I read about a famous mathematician from the 1600s. Notice that when you hang up multiple pendulum clocks in his house, they'd eventually sync up their swings, and then they'd just stay that way. So he wondered, just like I did when I first read this, how are these purely mechanical clocks that weren't touching somehow communicating with each other, and after a period of time, agreeing to swing in perfect unison? And since the unofficial motto of Crunch Labs is think like an engineer, I decided to create an experiment to test this for myself. So we got 4 clocks and put them on the wall. And after 4 days, that would happen. But when you're thinking like an engineer, you know that's not a failure, that's a clue. So I reread the story and picked up on an important detail I missed the first time. The clocks weren't mounted on a wall in the way we do today. Instead, they were mounted on the same wood beam that made up part of the wall. Given the construction methods of the 1600s, it's a good chance that the wood had a little wiggle to it. And that wiggle is a very important detail. Here's what I mean. If I swing this sledgehammer pendulum below me while standing on firm ground, then it's just the sledgehammer press down on a skateboard where I don't have firm footing, now you can see the pendulum is in fact pushing back and moving too. Now here's the wild part. Because the clock is securely attached to the beam, that beam acts just a tiny bit like the skateboard. So those swinging pendulums are ever so slightly actually moving the wall. So that means as the clocks are just slightly pushing back and nudging the beam, they start to influence and nudge each other too. So if there's a clock that's greatly out of sync with the others, over time, little nudges get it to line up. So after discovering all this, we took those 4 clocks and this time attached them all to the beam, which was attached to the wall with a little bit of wiggle built in. And this time, after 4 days, nothing happened, which once again was a clue, not a failure. Because it turns out for this to actually work with pendulum clocks, you need a very precise ratio of clock to pendulum mass, like this setup here. So while I couldn't get my hands on the perfect pendulum clock, here's another way to explain the same phenomenon. With 140 pendulums all sitting on a board, I can freely wiggle back and forth. Alright, let's give it a shot. A little help here. This is truly one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
It's like a bunch of stormtroopers.
And just to give you a sense of how quickly they sync up, here's an uninterrupted take so you can see for yourself as the chaos turns to order in less than a minute. So as you can see, even though we started them totally random, in less than a minute, those nudges do in fact influence each other. They're all swinging together just like the clocks 400 years ago in the math magician's house. Coming in at number 4, have you ever noticed every time you see a full moon, it always looks the same? In other words, it's the same side, even in pictures. Well, what about the other side? Well, it turns out we don't see the other side because the moon is rotating perfectly in sync with its orbit around the Earth. So we only ever see the googly eyes. But that's wild! Like, what are the chances that those would sync up perfectly? Well, we call this tidal lock. While it seems unlikely, you see this with pretty much all the other planets and their moons in our solar system too. And this simple demo will give us the right mental model. If the moon was perfectly spherical and balanced, it would spin like this, and one side wouldn't be more likely to line up with than the other. The moon is not perfectly spherical. Over time, that constant pull of Earth's gravity has caused it to be sort of slightly oblong, which we sort of exaggerated a little bit here. But now you'll see, since the center of gravity of our moon doesn't exactly line up with the axis by which it rotates like it was here, now, no matter how I spin it, it always happens to be that the heavy side of the moon always faces the strongest source of gravity, which just so happens to be the center of the Earth. Guess what? Out of space, the actual moon's nearest source of gravity is still the center of the Earth, which means that the real moon will always have the same side moving towards us, just like with our model. And that means every living thing on this planet that has ever looked up at the moon has always seen that same familiar face. And that will never change. Now, before we get to the last 3, including answering how hot air moves here, if you're like me, you love the feeling of that aha moment when you learn something new, and I got great news for you, because packaging up that moment is why I created Crunch Slash. Where you get a super fun toy every month in the mail that comes with a video where I teach you all the really cool physics that make it work. So if you want to have a ton of fun building your own toys while experiencing a bunch of those lovely aha moments at the same time, just visit CrunchLabs.com to learn more. And now on top of the train to learn once and for all why do you like the same spot when you jump inside the train, but not jump on top of the train. We'll get to the jump in a second, but first let's see if we can glean any clues from this small-scale test with 2 Lego guys, one inside and one on top of the train. But there's water. Now in a moment, I'm going to pull on this string, which will move the train car forward. I want you to think what will happen to each of the Lego guys. Ready? Here we go. Now because this test was in water, you intuitively sort of had a sense the top guy would fall off and the bottom guy would be fine, right? Well, yeah, because the top guy would have to travel through all that still water and that would push back on him. Whereas inside the train car, he's enclosed, so everything in that car, including the water, is moving along with the train. So why would I show you this Lego guy standing on a model train in water? Because it's fundamentally no different than me standing on a real train in air. It's just like water, air is also a fluid, it's just not as dense as water. You can sort of see how it moves like a fluid here in this demonstration showing hot air coming from blow dryer. So when a train moves through the air, it's moving through a fluid. To visualize this, let's replace me with a pair of helium balloons. Once again, what do you think will happen here? Well, of course, the balloon inside is totally upright because just like in water, the air around that balloon is traveling with the train. Whereas on top, the balloon is being pushed back because it has to fight its way through all the stationary air. Just like the Lego guy on top being pushed back by all the water around the train in the tank. It's sort of like when you stick your hand out the car window and feel all that resistance from the wind. So going back to the jump, if you were able to visualize all the air molecules like this, you'd see how once we start moving inside the train when I jump, I get no pushback from all my air molecule neighbors because they're pretty chill and we're all traveling together. But on top of the train, it's a whole different story. I'm continuously bonking into a mad rush of trillions of air molecules every second as I whiz by. So if I jump now, it makes total sense why they would push me back and I would land in a whole different spot. For number 6, here's an interesting thought experiment. Let's say you just bought a small 2-seater airplane and you know the plane has to be traveling at 60 miles per hour on a still day to take off. So one day you have the brilliant idea. Why not just create a much shorter runway using a plane-sized treadmill that can ramp up to 60 miles per hour, sending it into the air from your own backyard? But would that actually work? Well, let's run the experiment together with a small-scale model. Now, the way a plane typically takes off is it needs to reach a certain speed, which of course then requires a certain length of runway. So let's see what it is for this model airplane. Looks like it's 10 miles an hour after traveling 15 feet. Now here we've got our own version of our backyard treadmill runway that will ramp up to our 10 miles per hour takeoff speed. So let's see what happens. Make your prediction now if you haven't already. As we start the treadmill, we're going to spin the propeller more and more to keep it in the same spot so it stays in the camera frame. Okay, so we're at takeoff speed and sadly, we're not taking off. And at this point, we were suspicious maybe we measured something wrong. So we cranked it up way more and still nothing. So does that mean our backyard treadmill idea is a bust? Let's talk about what needs to happen for a plane to take off. Because planes need air flowing around their wings to create lift. Once again, it's sort of like sticking your hand out the car window. You don't feel any lift stopped at a red light, but the faster you go and the more air that flows by your hand, the more lift you feel. Which means no matter how fast our treadmill goes, there's still no air moving over the wings. We're stopped at a red light. And I think part of the confusion many people have with this experiment is they're comparing it to the vehicle they know best, which is a car. Because for a car, the ground is what gives you forward motion, but for a plane, it's the propeller that gives you forward motion. Here's a thought experiment to demonstrate that. Imagine you have a car and a plane on the most slippery ice ever invented. Because the car's engine uses the ground to get forward motion through the tires, no matter how fast you spin those tires, the car will not move an inch. The plane, however, is totally unaffected by the ice because the plane's wheels aren't powered at all. The forward motion for a plane comes from the propeller in the air, so it would take off with absolutely no problems. It wouldn't know the difference. So knowing that, let's adjust this experiment to give the plane a chance to move forward, which means, of course, we're gonna need a bigger treadmill. So let's get our treadmill back up to that 10 miles per hour takeoff speed. And at this point, we're exactly back to where we started with the smaller treadmill. So to get the plane to move forward, let's just give it more power, causing it to move down our extended treadmill and take off at 10 miles per hour after 15 feet. Which, as you recall, is the same speed and distance as we tested it with no treadmill at all. So would your brilliant backyard runway treadmill idea work? Absolutely. Assuming, of course, your backyard is the exact length of an actual runway. And now for our final engineering puzzle, we're back in this hot air balloon as I contend with my mild fear of heights. Okay, well, I haven't found a steering wheel, but it does seem pretty clear every time you add hot, you go high. Hot air balloons utilize some pretty straightforward physics, and the clue is right there in the name. Hot air is less dense than cold air, and we know from our Coke cans, less dense things will rise. So when Mateo does this and heats up the air in the balloon, he's basically Diet Coking us. And then over time, the air outside cools back down the air in the balloon, making it more dense, and therefore we start to sink down like regular Coke. So all you have control over is whether we go up or down. Correct. But you said you can land me wherever I wanted.
That is also correct.
But what if the wind's going that way and I want to land over there? That's gotta be magic.
Yeah, so we'll do it.
Okay, pause here, because to understand Mateo's answer, you first need to understand two things. First is that if the wind is blowing in one direction in your backyard, 1,000 feet above that, it's almost certainly blowing differently. And 1,000 feet above that, it will once again be totally different. So the question then becomes, how does Mateo know the wind speed and direction at different heights? And that's where number 2 comes in, because it's someone's job every day to launch 2 balloons like this into the sky sky at noon and midnight London time. But this is done in 1,000 locations all around the world, all at those same 2 exact times. And these balloons all have something called a radio sound attached to them that measures things like altitude, pressure, temperature, and wind. And then they transmit the information back to the ground station, which gets fed into supercomputers. And that's the reason the wind and weather predictions can be so accurate. So 2,000 of these massive weather balloons go up every day, and then they eventually pop and just land somewhere, never to be retrieved. Now, because of this, computers can figure out the wind direction and speed at every level of the atmosphere as you go up. So on a given day, Mateo just checks the daily charts, and if these are the predicted wind directions and speed, and he wants us to land exactly right here, he just needs to raise, and then raise again, and then lower the balloon to catch the appropriate invisible rivers of air to land in the perfect spot. So hot air balloons don't steer, at least not in the normal way we think of it. It's more of a tag team with Mother Nature. So in some ways, he's less of a magically steering pilot, and he's more of a weatherman, which means the only real magic here is all the juicy knowledge I just wirelessly transfer through that screen from my brain into yours. This is Timmy, and he is a piano prodigy. He loves to practice, and his parents don't have to nag him to practice either. I love it. Do your thing, Timmy. But this is Kate, and she lost all interest in piano after Hot Buns, which means practice is a battle and a chore she doesn't want to do. And let's face it, Mom doesn't exactly want to hear it. Well, I got great news for you, Katie and Mom, because for the cost of 1 month of begrudging piano lessons and reactions like this, you get an entire year of Crunch Slap's Bill Box with reactions like this. And when the snow level is this high, you're learning so much cool stuff, even without realizing you're learning so much cool stuff. Because each month when you joy rides on your porch and we put it together alongside me, you're learning all the cool engineering principles that make it work. And this secret sauce of hiding the vegetables is the reason we've shipped millions of these boxes to converted parents around the world, saying this is totally unlocked any level of resilience, curiosity, and passion for their kids. And there's even 2 options. You've got Build Box, where it teaches them the basics, they're building a super fun toy for kids up to 12 years old. And then there's Hack Pack, where we learn some coding with an awesome build-it-yourself robot for your teens, or heck, even for you. Half of these things get shipped to adults. So if you want to go from being the household nagger to the household legend, watching a young mind discover a passion they didn't even know they had. PriceLabs.com, use the link in the video description where we currently give away either 1 or 2 boxes free as an early spring special. Thanks for watching. I'm in my Tesla on autopilot going 40 miles an hour towards a fake Wile E. Coyote rover in a painted wall. Please stop. Please stop. Holy... And I'm doing this to see if Tesla's autopilot can be tricked, because it famously only relies on simple cameras to navigate the world, as opposed to much more expensive tech. In fact, we're out here today to run a bunch of tests in extreme conditions to see how those simple cameras on the Tesla stack up against other fancy cars that use more advanced technology. Wow! And the story of how I ended up as a crash test dummy in my own car started 6 months back at Disneyland as I was sneaking onto the famously pitch black ride called Space Mountain. And while I might look a little plus-sized in that jacket, as you can see from this infrared camera shot, that's no ordinary jacket because it's hiding some of that fancy car technology. 43 million people ride Space Mountain every year, but unlike a famous ride like Colossus, Space Mountain is in near total darkness, meaning no one knows what the ride actually looks like, which as far as I'm concerned, needed to be fixed with a special undercover operation. True story, I had been wanting to make this video for over 20 years, way before I had a YouTube channel, because I would come to Disneyland and just be like, someday the technology will be there so we could map out what Space Mountain actually looks like. So this is a very big moment for me. And as common knowledge, every good undercover operation worth its salt needs a 3-step plan. For me, step 1 would just be getting into Disneyland with my tech through their famously tight security. If I managed to do that, step 2 would be making it through the park, avoiding any security guards on my way to Space Mountain. And finally, for step 3, I would need to sneak onto the ride itself while avoiding any suspicion to make my childhood dream come true. And if all this seems like overkill, let's just say I have a bit of history getting kicked out of amusement parks in the name of science. For step 1, I took an oversized jacket and made a little pocket inside where I could hide my secret tech inside it. like the slight length shuffle walk that really sells it, I think. Because they make you walk through metal detectors, I disguised and temporarily placed my device with a bunch of gear in my camera bag, and just had to hope it wouldn't get discovered.
We'll just wait till your eye gets full of screen in case you find out that.
And even though this moment of truth was terrifying, I knew I just needed to play it cool. Like that. And the security was in fact extremely tight. But our alibi was tight.
Alright, we're in. One down.
Once inside, I immediately made my way to a bathroom to properly suit up. Now I just had to make it all the way over to Space Mountain without arousing the suspicion of any of the park security, which is a lot harder than you might think because it's a well-kept secret. Disney employs a bunch of security officers dressed up in plain clothes as normal park goers, so I could trust no one. So in an attempt to blend in and look like a normal park goer, I took a corn dog. This for the integrity of mission.
Not be prepared. Incredibly delicious.
Back on track after a close call or two, I had made it inside the building.
Alright, 2 down, now for the hard part.
Now that we're inside, it's probably a good time to explain why my jacket looks like this when you view it with an infrared camera. Because that is a really tiny portable LiDAR scanner. So it's shooting out 640,000 laser pulses per second to fully map the surroundings. Now as for the legality of this, if you check the back of your ticket, it says you have to obey all the park rules. And if you check their website for the rules on forbidden items, it says you can't bring in shoes with wheels, or stun guns, or cremated remains. Ew. But you'll notice the forbidden items list makes no mention of chest-mounted LiDAR scanners. So technically, I'm not breaking any laws. I'm precisely mapping out this entire ride down to the nearest half-inch.
Don't blow this, Rover. We got this.
And so after sneaking past the last of the ride security, I was finally in place. And this is probably a good time to point out that the final boss here in this control room, watching all the infrared see-in-the-dark cameras, was the one I was most afraid would shut down the whole operation. Because when we tested this out to see how inconspicuous the LiDAR would be, as you can see here, not very, as it lights up the whole place like a Christmas tree. By the way, you should know LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging, whereas radar is radio detection and ranging. Basically, it's like having a bunch of laser pointers inside the shell, shooting all around the room. And each time you fire one of them, you then see how long it takes for you to see it hit the object it's pointed at. And since we know the speed of light, if we measure that time, it will tell us how far away the object is. For example, it will take twice as long to detect a laser point on an object that's 20 feet away, as opposed to an object that's 10 feet away. But how could the sensor possibly keep track of 640,000 laser pulses firing all out at once? Well, it turns out, amazingly, they actually happen one after another. So the sensor only has to keep track of one pulse at a time. And this works because the speed of light is so fast, in fact, if you slow time way down, so the time it takes a laser to hit an object is 4 slow-mo seconds, then you can wait 30 minutes on that slow-mo time scale before sending the next pulse. So it's actually really easy for the sensor to know exactly which laser pulse it's measuring, even if that happens 640,000 times in a single second. And with that, it was time for the execution phase of Secret Undercover Operation Mousetrap.
Let's go!
It felt so good to cross off a 30-year-old bucket list item. But just as I feared, as our exact cart pulled back into the station, they stopped the ride and announced it was being locked down.
All flights have been put in a holding pattern.
Stop the ride. And I was about to have an unscheduled appointment with a bunch of dudes with muscles much bigger than mine. But as it turns out, it was an unrelated power issue, which meant this was a mission accomplished.
That's like a dream come true. Before I even having a YouTube channel, I wanted to do that.
And the only critical oversight of the whole operation was forgetting they took those dumb keychain photos at the end of the ride, leaving behind some very incriminating evidence at the scene.
I forgot to put it away.
That's so awesome.
That's Harrison, by the way. And he started the company that makes these super small portable LiDARs. So after mapping out a few more rides like Haunted Mansion, let's go, and continuing my painstaking efforts to blend in, we headed home so Harrison could process all the data. And a few days later, he did not disappoint.
This is from the LiDAR you were wearing on your chest.
Get out of here.
All of this is totally in the dark.
Now what's really cool is we can visualize what was recorded as the ride progresses. And so as you can see here, you get a sense of what the LiDAR was seeing in real time as the ride progressed on. But what's even cooler though is we can now use that data to make an actual tabletop 3D model of Space Mountain with the help of our army of 3D printers. Which meant for the first time ever, this question marks days were numbered. operators were hard at work, we also reviewed the data we captured from the Haunted Mansion ride, where we made two super interesting discoveries. The first is that the initial room they take you in is really just a fancy elevator so they can get you underground to transport you to the real ride, which actually isn't in this house at all. Because when you go down this hallway, you're walking under this hill you see here. So by the time you load onto the ride, you're totally outside the park. But if that's true, there should be some evidence for this besides our scan. And sure enough, there is. Because if you look back at this shot of the hill, you can actually see just the corner of some kind of large building. And if you check that answer on Google Maps, you can see this entire massive above-ground warehouse where the ride actually takes place that matches up perfectly with our LiDAR scan. Which is just super clever engineering by the super talented Disney Imagineers. And the second discovery is they use a lot of super thin, nearly invisible curtains they project on that create a lot of the illusions like these flying ghosts. And while your eye might get fooled, as you can see here, there's no hiding from the LiDAR scan. And so you can imagine there are some incredible real-world applications for this LiDAR technology. Like every day when your phone scans your face to unlock itself, or when archaeologists use it to find lost ancient cities from the sky, or for example, in cars. And as you might have guessed, this car automatically saved itself from crashing because it uses a LiDAR sensor, which as you can imagine, would have saved Wile E. Coyote a lot of pain over the years. And the reason it works so well is because it's updating that point cloud of 640,000 laser measurements every second to the brain of this car, showing exactly what's in front of it. In fact, it works so well, as you can see here, I can maneuver all around these obstacles in real time with all the windows blacked out, looking just at that point cloud in a VR headset.
Okay, easy bike guy.
My Tesla on autopilot, however, only relies on simple cameras and its image processing to navigate the world. So to see if that tech is just too simple, came up with a 6-part LiDAR versus camera head-to-head face-off, culminating in a history-making first Tesla versus cartoon physics test. Okay, so we're starting out with the car with the LiDAR. First test is just a kid standing in the road. Not sure why he's doing that. Very unsafe. So we want to be extra careful. Okay, and then the testing speed was 40 miles an hour in a permissible zone, which meant the LiDAR would have to detect the kid and then slam on the brakes at least 60 feet in front of him. And it turned out, that's all it needed. Now it was Tesla's turn. This is a terrible feeling driving straight at a kid, but just for science. Alright, we are up to speed. And with just simple cameras, the Tesla was speeding fast. Oh no. But did detect the kid. Oh, just not in time to fully hit the brakes. Oh no. He was even a Crunch Labs fan. Now, if you're a Tesla owner, there is a silver lining, because they're relying on the automatic emergency braking system to stop for the car. And because it assumes the driver's paying full attention while fully driving the car, it only hits the brakes when it's 100% sure there's a problem in order to avoid false positives. So the alternative is to use autopilot, and that assumes the driver isn't paying much attention, and while the downside is you get way more fans of braking and false positives,
That was ridiculous.
the upside is you're less likely to be charged with vehicular manslaughter, because you can see here on autopilot it actually stopped in time. So I decided to be nice and call the score 1-1, and then I'd be even nicer by using the more conservative autopilot on the Tesla for all the remaining tests, such as this one, where we now simulate the kid dashing out from behind a parked car using some clever engineering, giving the cars less than a second to identify the mannequin and stop themselves. Here we go, getting up to speed. Oh, a ball came out. I wonder why that happened. Oh, kid! Another life saved. Now it was the Tesla's turn on autopilot. 40 miles an hour, there goes the ball. And impressively, it stopped with plenty of room to spare. Good job, Tesla. Which meant we were all tied up heading into round 3, the fog round. Optically, with my own eyes, I can no longer see that there's a kid through this fog. The LiDAR has no issue. This will be interesting. Okay, here we go. Oh, wall of fog. So we plunged through the fog, coming to a very sudden break. Hey! After which we saw the mannequin was not only still standing, but it was casting a really cool long shadow, because the lasers don't pass through solid objects, just like how you can cast a long shadow with the sun, because light doesn't pass through solid objects. I don't have high hopes here, but would the kid look just as cool after the Tesla test? Oh, fudge! I mean, slow-mo does make everything look sort of cool, but that wasn't the only shot. I actually hit that was on autopilot. The cameras didn't even hit the brakes at all. The only thing still on is the pants. That was a bad one. And now the LiDAR had taken another W. Time to make it rain! The next test would see if the cars could spot the kid under a torrential downpour made up, or maybe too much water. This is really interesting. See, the Tesla can see the kid, but as soon as it starts raining, the kid is gone. And it was similar in the LiDAR car, where you first got a clear image of the kid and the shadow. Once we started the hose, oh, you see all the water going in. LiDAR might struggle here. Okay, here we go. And as the wall of water started, LiDAR seemed to not slow down at all. Until the last possible second. Another W. Now I just need the rain to stop. You know what a good rain dance is? That's actually a good idea. Now the LiDAR had surprised me. It was time to see if Tesla could as well. Oh boy. Oh boy. Sadly, it did not.
And though I did everything I could, yeah, he's no longer with us.
So it was on to the penultimate round 5, where we had 6 of the brightest lights that money could buy simulate either sunset or sunrise, or a truck in the road having its bright lights on. Would these lights keep the cars from detecting the kid?
Lightning trucker light test, let's go.
The LiDAR could immediately see much more than my eyes could. When the lights turned on, oh, that's a bright light. The question remained if it would see the kid. Come on, LiDAR. Oh! And it did it, no problem. Just always waits to the last minute. It gets me every time. That's very bright. Time, blinded by the light. And it's true, these lights were so bright, I wouldn't have seen this kid on my own. And at this point, I really doubted that the Tesla could either. But when it pulled to a stop, okay, we stopped for the kid with the bright light. A W for the Tesla. And that W meant these were the scores headed into the painted brick wall ultimate grand finale. Scientific papers have actually been written on this exact scenario, debating theoretically what the Tesla would do. But we were here once and for all to silence all the debates with cold hard data. All right, so LiDAR is perfect and Tesla is 3 for 5. But as far as I'm concerned at this point, this one's the only one that matters.
Hit it.
Now, as you can see as a human driver, while that looks sort of convincing, the image processing in our brains is advanced enough that we pick up on minor visual inconsistencies and we wouldn't hit it. And as for the LiDAR, it isn't looking at what image is printed on the wall. So this sort of just looks like a wall, which would make this the easiest test of the day. And as I suspected, handled it with no problem. So the question was, would the Tesla detect and stop for this Wile E. Coyote-style painted wall that was hiding yet another child staring at nothing during what might be his last minutes on Earth?
One way to test that hypothesis. I was actually supposed to go, but I chickened out.
Oh. The car may not know it's a wall, but I know it's a wall.
Everything in your body says,
don't drive into a wall. Oh boy. All right, here we go. And so I steeled myself and accelerated the Tesla up to 40 miles an hour. And as the wall crept closer and closer without moving an inch, the question was if the Tesla would detect it in time to step on the brakes. And it turned out... So I can definitively say for the first time in the history of the world, Tesla's optical camera system would absolutely smash through a fake wall without even a slight tap on the brakes. My heart is gonna beat out of my chest. Turns out my Tesla's more Wile E. Coyote and less Roadrunner. Sorry, little fella. Looks like we lost 2 arms and a head. Not sure that's salvageable. I think I might Uber home. But that's not all, folks, because while LiDAR proved itself the superior car technology, could it actually deliver on the dream of 14-year-old Mark Rober and map out Space Mountain well enough for me to make a scaled 3D printed model? And after 30 years of waiting, I'm happy to report, for the first time ever, this is what the Space Mountain track actually looks like. Wow. This is so cool. Oh, there's me! There's me, little backwards hat! I recognize every single one of these turns. You go up right there, then you come down, and then it's all the right turns, right turns, right turns. Right here is where they take your picture. This is wild. 14-year-old me would be so proud right now. This is it. Space Mountain has been revealed. And thanks to Harrison's mapping technology, this means you can now actually see what it would look like to ride Space Mountain with all the lights on in Crunch Labs, even if at this size, you'd be way below the ride's 5-foot minimum height requirement. And all of this is why I love being an engineer. You get to shape the future, potentially save a bunch of lives, and accomplish even the most ridiculous 30-year life goals. If you're a teenager or adult and you've always wanted to make and build cool stuff, but just haven't figured out that first step, this is it. It's called the Crunch Labs Hack Pack. And it's basically a series of really fun programmable robots that get delivered right to your door, where we build it together and learn step by step the kinds of engineering skills that go into making the builds on my YouTube channel. And they all work with no programming required. Since my goal is to take you from wherever you're at and level you up, you can easily hack the microcontroller brains of any of these robots in a bunch of ways to completely level up the functionality. There's also a community where you can share your builds or post questions, as well as an AI chatbot named Mark Robot that will check your code for you and help you implement your most creative ideas. On top of all that, each box has a chance to contain a platinum diploma. If your box has it, congratulations. College is now free for you or a loved one you want to transfer to, plus you get to come out here and brainstorm one of your own ideas with me and my team friends. So if you want to enhance or even just take the first step of unlocking the really fun and rewarding hobby of making stuff, just go to crunchlabs.com or use the link in the video description. We're to say thank you. We're giving away that free box as an early subscriber special. Thanks for watching. Nugs are the favorite food of an incredibly intelligent crow, but they're being defended by this bird cage. Because if she wants to gain access to the nugs, she'll need to first solve the 9 increasingly difficult puzzles I designed to protect her. This crow escape room gauntlet is extremely challenging. So challenging, in fact, for comparison, I had some young humans also attempt to solve the exact same puzzles with fascinating results. But just like with my backyard squirrels, I will admit that in hindsight, I completely underestimated my adversary. Now, Juicy Nugs might seem like an odd choice, but if you look closely, you can spot the exact moment my personal vendetta against the crows started about a year ago. Did you catch it? I'll play it back, but this time, watch right here. The crows have figured out I DoorDash food to my porch on an embarrassingly regular basis. So when a car rolled up to my house and a person got out, it meant dinner was served. And this continued on for nearly every delivery, until it all came to a head one day when they once again decided to go for my nugs. But this time, instead of giving up like a quitter, I reordered my food because I was really angry and hungry. And this is when I realized I was in over my head, because I was no longer just having my food stolen by a crow. I was being bullied by a crow, as he just knocks me on my drink and flies off. In fact, I know Crow Translator, but if you play that back at double speed, that's a bully's laugh if I've ever heard it. And the true irony here is, of the 8 billion people on the planet, mine was quite possibly the worst porch for them to be stealing from, because I spent the better part of 7 years seeking revenge on a different species that was stealing from my porch. In the form of fake packages, fine glitter, and copious amounts of fart spray. And so at this point, I needed answers. I wanted to know if I was really being targeted. Like, actually, how smart is a crow? And after even a minimal amount of research, it turns out really, really smart. From playing an instrument, to understanding and manipulating human objects, to straight up psychological warfare. Where you see this crow here wants some water, but the big bad vulture is currently being a water hog. So he sneaks up behind him and plucks out a feather, literally framing the poor other vulture, who gets chased off as this genius instigator gets what he wants. So to fully test the theory, I was deliberately being picked on by all my neighborhood crows. I found a crow named Cheryl at a bird rescue sanctuary to represent their species as I tested their intelligence. And like any good scientist would, we started off with the first step of the scientific method, by just observing her, cameras we placed in her enclosure. It was really interesting to see how curiosity would drive her to figure out clever ways to interact with the objects in her environment, occasionally motivated by a strategically placed tree. It became clear she had a few favorite objects she loved to play with, like this wooden ball, as she demonstrated a surprisingly deep understanding of cause and effect. So after a couple months of observation and study, a plan had now formed to test their species with a 9-part escape room gauntlet, which meant the only thing left at this point is to put that plan into action with a 10-second build montage. Here are the basic elements. For starters, I placed her favorite combo meal right here on this table. From sad experience, I know when she enters this room, the first thing she'll be drawn to are the juicy nuts. But it will be impossible for her to access them because of this reverse birdcage that's meant to keep birds out. And the only way for this birdcage to autonomously unprotect the nuts is if she solves all 9 of our puzzles, starting first right here on this desk. Because this is where Cheryl will find a graduated cylinder with her favorite wooden ball that's too far down for her to reach directly with her beak. So here's a question. If you're a crow, how would you solve this puzzle given all the materials you have at your disposal here on the table? Well, if you said you would take the heavy rocks and you would add them one at a time to raise the water level, you'd be right. So Cheryl will have to come to the same conclusion in addition to not using any of the other decoy materials like cork or the cotton balls that would just float uselessly on the surface. Once she adds enough rocks to get the ball, the water level will now be high enough to complete the electrical circuit with these 2 pieces of copper tape. That then sends a signal to an Arduino this puzzle has been sufficiently solved, and after a few seconds time delay, a light automatically turns on, leading her to the next puzzle, aka the Scales of Justice. After seeing videos like this where the crows are interacting with human-made objects and tools, in this case, water, we present her with a scale to see if she can figure out how to use it. Once again, there are objects on the table to choose from, and if she adds enough of them to one side, it will tip the scales, triggering this limit switch here, indicating the puzzle is solved, which will activate the lights on the Scooby-Doo portrait room. The goal for this puzzle is to assess their facial recognition capabilities. Because I remember seeing a study where researchers captured and tagged a set of crows wearing a specific mask and then later released them. So after that, the crows would dive bomb and attack anyone wearing that mask. But even more interestingly, they were still doing it a decade later. Meaning if a crow doesn't like you for some reason, they will remember your face and pass that vendetta on for generations. In our case, we left a picture of me in Cheryl's home enclosure, and every time she pulled on the leather strap underneath the picture of my face, she would get a treat. So to see if she remembers my face, even in different clothes, we'll rotate through these portraits that include decoys like Kevin the Backyard Scientist, and some guy who made a cameo in my lemon battery video.
Oh, delicious. Wow.
Refreshing, organic,
Not worth 10 hours.
amazing,
12 hours.
totally worth it.
And if she pulls on the leather strap and rings the bell associated with my face, the piezoelectric sensor on the back will sense the vibration and some money will flutter down from the ceiling, at which point we once again rotate the Scooby-Doo portraits. Then once she's correctly picked me 3 times in a row, she can move on to the next puzzle called the cash grab. The idea here was to mimic the videos where people train crows to go out and retrieve money they find lying around and then exchange it for a treat. In our case, all the dollar bills have NFC chips on them, and the money collection box has an NFC reader near the opening. So if the reader registers all 3 dollar bills have been added, it tells that to a microcontroller that activates a servo motor that opens this door, revealing a tool. Now on the off chance she even makes it this far, Cheryl has to grab that tool and bring it to the next puzzle, aka the fishing hole. The inspiration for this puzzle was from this fascinating video I saw where a crow took a piece of bread that would have been a fine meal on its own, but instead it used the bread as bait to lure a fish to upgrade to a much better meal. And then in another video, I saw a crow use a stick as a tool to remove a tasty worm out of a hole. So here, Cheryl will first need to figure out how to bend the end part of this tool into a hook shape, after which she has to stick it in here and fish out the cup. Now the whole container system here is supported by a strain gauge continuously measuring the weight of the system. So when it registers it's lighter by exactly 1 cup, the next puzzle gets up. And this was a pretty straightforward cup stack challenge, and it's something we saw a lot of examples of online, including with Cheryl herself in her free play. The engineering here is pretty clever though, with an inner and outer copper ring in each cup, so as they stack up, the electrical circuit gets closer and closer to being completed. And when she has the final cup she retrieved from the fishing hole, he completes the circuit, lighting up an old classic throwback from the squirrel obstacle course, you guessed it, the tourist trap. This is sort of designed as a reprieve and a little bit of a fun break for the final two puzzles. And lest you think crows don't like to have fun, I'll direct your attention to this crow repeatedly sledding down this roof, and this crow and his buddy swinging from this branch like Tarzan. Here, of course, when she sticks her head through the hole, allowing us to take her adorable picture, she's rewarded with an appetizer portion of a juicy nug to whet her palate and give her the strength to go the distance, which she'll need to face the penultimate challenge, aka the shipwreck. The idea behind this puzzle came from seeing crows coordinate their beaks and feet sort of like this. So Cheryl has to pull the cork off and then continue pulling up on the string, pinning it under her foot the whole time until she's pulled enough of the string for the ship to teeter backwards, triggering this tilt switch, sending the signal to activate the final challenge. The egg drop. The concept here came from probably the most incredible example of crow intelligence in the wild that I stumbled upon in my research, where in order to crack open an impossibly hard walnut, they would first drop the walnut into the street directly above the crosswalk. Then cars would drive by cracking the nut, at which point the crows would wait for the crosswalk to turn, then safely hop out to collect their delicious reward. So inside our egg, there's an IR emitter. But in order to access that, instead of teaming up with cars at the crosswalk, Cheryl will need to team up with our buddy Isaac Newton, harnessing the power of gravitational potential energy to break it open. Because if she manages to do that, after somehow solving all the other 8 puzzles as well then this IR emitter will trigger this IR sensor hidden at the base of the table, which will give the final signal to raise the bird cage, earning her the right to gorge on her well-deserved combo meal for as long as she wants, without any fear of me chasing her off my porch. I should mention, by the way, this beautiful birdcage was custom built for me by my Mythbuster buddy Adam Savage, and he made a really cool build video for it over on his YouTube channel called Tested. You should totally check out. So with the maze all set up, I just needed to lure Cheryl to the study, and I knew just the trick, at which point all I had to do was wait. And I didn't have to wait long. And I should mention, while I do have an affinity for testing species like crows, squirrels, and even octopi, my favorite species is humans. So I invited a few of them out to serve as a control group before Cheryl made her official attempt. Okay, get the juicy nugs. You gotta solve 9 puzzles in this room. Any questions? Go. And their problem-solving skills kicked in right away.
I see white here. Okay, hold on, wait. Think like a crow.
To retrieve the wooden ball, they started by just trying to utilize all the various objects on the table.
So we got a cork, pom-pom balls, rocks.
And it was really cool to see them trying a bunch of different things, totally unafraid of failure.
We need to find one that's long enough so that it'll push the water in and then it'll rise up.
While learning a little more with each unsuccessful attempt.
Maybe we put the rocks in and then make the water go up? Oh yeah!
So finally,
use more rocks. More rocks!
They earned the Eureka Mark.
I got it. Yes!
At the second puzzle, they started to recognize some patterns and pick up some confidence and momentum. On puzzle 3, immediately demonstrating their own excellent facial recognition skills, with perhaps my favorite line of this whole video.
Hey, I reckon it's Backyard Scientist, the guy who helped with the lemon guy, and Mark Rober.
On this one, they couldn't reach the bell, so they tried a very novel approach that didn't quite work.
Just barely.
But it inspired a solution that did.
Oh, money!
Sort of.
Oh, no! How are we supposed to get that? We're not birds of prey.
And trying different things and knowing that failure is part of the process is what it means to think like an engineer. This is such an important skill to develop for life. It's written right on the side of every Crunch Labs build box that gets delivered to your door every month, where we build a really fun toy together and learn about the fascinating physics that make it work. The best part is, just like I try to do with my YouTube videos, we hide the vegetables, so you're learning all these useful life skills like resilience, but every step of the journey is still really fun. Plus, all Crunch Lab subscribers now get their actual selfie taken from actual space and the chance to win the platinum ticket every month to come hang out with me and my team. So if you're a kid and you're looking for something to put at the top of your Christmas list, or you're just looking to be the household hero by gifting it to someone else, use the link in the video description or head to crunchlabs.com, where we're giving away 2 free boxes for our holiday special, so you've got something even more fun to open up.
Yeah!
Then some juicy nuts.
We gotta get out before Mark gets here.
Now back to Cheryl. Just as I suspected, the irresistible prize inside the birdcage caught her immediate attention. And I can't blame her for trying the brute force shortcut, which of course comes up short. And as she steps back and surveys the situation, you can tell she knows this isn't going to be easy. starts out with a lap around the room, which admittedly was not very informative. At which point she remembers she has wings and starts checking things out from a higher vantage. You can almost see her trying to work things out as she recognized variations on a few elements and toys from her enclosure, because we tried to model some of the puzzles after them. But even still, ultimately she was left scratching her head on how to proceed until we officially kicked things off by lighting up the first puzzle, which piqued her interest enough to investigate further, and that's when she noticed her favorite ball. And just as I'd hoped, she immediately tried to retrieve it, but came up just short. The question was, what would she do next? And this was the first moment I realized my nugs might be in trouble. Because just like the kids, she surveyed all the items at her disposal on the table, but unlike the kids, she settled immediately on the right answer. And right as I was thinking she was going to smoke the kids in this competition, she recalibrated my expectations with a reminder that anatomically speaking, she was still in fact working with the brain the size of a grape as she dropped a rock into the quirky dish. But then after realizing this wasn't quite right, she corrected herself by placing the rock into the empty beaker. After which, to her credit, she refocused her efforts. And it didn't take much longer to get to this point where she very cleverly used the bobbing action from the buoyancy force on the ball to save herself a few more rock drops. And with that, the center was tripped and puzzle number 2 was illuminated, indicating it was time to move on. Cheryl had a setup fairly similar to the skills of Justice in her enclosure at home, so this was more of an underhanded softball pitch to allow her to build up some momentum. Sure enough, she got right to work, at which point she immediately quit work to try and force the balance beam into the completed position. But since the limit switch needs a sustained contact before lighting up the next puzzle, she ditched that plan with a return to her more conventional efforts. And she was surprisingly picky at which point she wanted to add to the dish. So picky, in fact, that adorably she went back to get her favorite wooden ball to add to the tray. And look, not to nitpick because she was doing great, but she displayed a fairly rudimentary grasp on the relative densities between a wooden ball and a metal coin, as she seemed sort of incredulous that wouldn't do the trick. But after one more coin, and a bit of an assist that I'm gonna let slide, the limit switch was triggered, moving us on to puzzle 3, the Scooby-Doo portrait roulette. And right away, she seemed to recognize my face from her enclosure back home, because she immediately started cawing a bunch at my picture. And once again, while I don't speak Crow, I'm pretty sure this translates to, you're way more handsome than me. Once she's sufficiently expressed her feelings, she rang the bell under my picture, triggering the piezoelectric sensor, sending a dollar bill fluttering down. Now we see her stuff paper into tissue boxes back in her home enclosure, so to help nudge her in the right direction, the lights to the cash grab turn themselves on. And after a bit of poking around, she figured out what to do by putting the money in the box, at which point, nothing happened. And as you can see, this confuses Cheryl. And then it frustrates Cheryl as she tries to find another way in. We wanted her to ring the bell a total of 3 times to prove that picking my face once wasn't a fluke. So eventually, when no new lights come on and nothing happens, she makes her way back to the Scooby-Doo portrait roulette to troubleshoot things. Eventually, she rings the bell under my face once more, letting the dollar bill flutter by. And then one final time, only on this one, making an incredible Dude Perfect worthy mid-air grab right at the warning track. From there, it was pretty straightforward for her to stash both of the final bills. Registering a completion of the puzzle through the NFC reader, giving her both a jump scare and the tools she'd need for puzzle 5, the fishing hole. Unfortunately for Cheryl, she hops on over to the newly lit puzzle without realizing this is a bring your own pole type of situation, which once again puts her at a dead end. But at this point, she seemed to have an understanding of the cause and effect relationship between the puzzles. So she scoots herself back over to the cash grab, grabs the tool, and then makes her way back. And on her first attempt, she tries to sort of wedge the cup with the stick, which clearly wasn't going to work, which leads to what is quite possibly one of the coolest things I have ever seen, as she goes full-on blacksmith mode, hammering away, fashioning the end of the stick into a hook, at which point she drops it back in, and successfully retrieves the cup. This, of course, is registered by the strain gauge, which communicates to the microcontroller, paving the way to the cup stack. And I knew this would likely be one of the easier puzzles for her, since she played with a similar toy a bunch at home. The trick would be if she could figure out the final cup in the stack was the one she caught from the previous puzzle. And sure enough, without too much difficulty, she stacks the first cup, and with just a little more difficulty, she stacks the second one. But once again, when no new lights come on, she quickly figures out our clever trick and out-clevers us, retrieving the top cup and bringing it back to the complicated circuit, allowing her to move on to the crowd favorite, the tourist trap. Cheryl had earned every bit of a break by somehow making it this far. Plus, I figured she could use a little caloric nugget boost to give her the energy and motivation to finish this out. In exchange for all that, she did not disappoint with this snapshot worthy of a postcard, which meant it was on to the penultimate puzzle, the shipwreck. And the calorie boost seemed to pay off, because without a whole lot to interact with here, she pretty quickly figured out she should just pull out the cork, showcasing her very skillful beak claw coordination in the process. And as soon as she pulled it out far enough to teeter the ship, the tilt switch passed on the input signal, revealing to the room the final boss. And of course, I've shown just the highlights here from all her attempts on the puzzles, but she'd somehow persevered and made it this far, which meant if she figured this out, it would be an absolute clean sweep. So after sizing up the situation and considering all the options, she comes to the correct conclusion and teams up with gravity, exposing the IR emitter, which gives the final signal that it's time for her to enjoy the greatest meal of her little feathered life. And to no one's surprise, after solving all the complex puzzles in this escape room gauntlet, it was a pretty simple task to get right to the nugs. But before she even finished her long-coveted, well-earned reward, she delighted me with one final touching surprise as she grabbed another nug, slathered it in a little dipping sauce, and then offered it up, almost as a gesture of mutual respect and goodwill between our species. And I suppose in the end, whether or not my original crows were picking on me is sort of irrelevant, because I now know they're smart enough where you don't really want to find out. So out of respect for them and my new friend Cheryl, whenever I now order food to my door, I leave a side of juicy nugs as an offering, which I hope will put me in the good graces of them and their posterity for years to come, as they pass down tales of my generosity to their future grandcrows. Either way, it just feels good to return to my roots, eating all the neighborhood birds. Wait, zoom in. Here we go. This is Travis. And the reason he's at a loss of words is because his hackback box happened to contain the platinum diploma, which means college is now free for him or anyone who wants.
That's awesome.
And the chance to win free college and to visit the Crunch Labs, plus the fact that you'll leave yourself taken in space, are just a couple of perks you get automatically if you sign up for Billbox if you're a kid, or Hackpack if you're a teen or adult. Nailed it! And Hackpack especially makes for a great holiday gift for that person in your life that's really hard to shop for, because it's basically a really fun robot in a box that can ship to your door when you build it together, and it meets you at your current level. If you've never built or coded anything before, it will be your first successful step just towards making cool stuff like you saw all throughout this video with the crows, because it works right out of the box without needing to know any code. But if you're already a master builder or programmer, we designed it intentionally to be tweaked and modified so you can get creative using the online coding module to totally upgrade what it can do and then show it off and get feedback from the community. So this year, whether you're a teen or adult or you're a kid, if you want to give or receive the gift of thinking like an engineer while having a ton of fun at the same time, just go to crunchlabs.com and use the link in the video description or to say thank you. We're giving away either 1 or 2 free boxes as a holiday special. Thanks for watching. My brand new custom build satellite called SatGus. about a month, she'll be zooming by way up in space at 5 miles per second. But what makes Gus so special is that she's got a phone right here and a camera right here, and her sole purpose is to take your selfie in space with the Earth photobombing you. And it gets even cooler, because if you tell me the city you live in when you upload your picture to the satellite, we'll not only take the selfie over your city, but we'll tell you precisely when that will happen. So if you go out to Yard Wave, you'll technically be in the photo twice. It's incredible we live in a day and age where just an everyday civilian like you and me can just decide to build something and then send it to space. So today I'm going to give you a 6-step crash course that will tell you all you need to know to build and launch your own creation in space one day. And these 6 steps are very near and dear to my heart, because these are the exact same 6 steps I first learned when I was a young engineer at NASA working on the Mars rover. So for step 1, right out of the gate, you gotta first design your creation digitally in CAD. That stands for computer-aided design. It's really the first step for anything that gets made in manufacturing these days. From a Mars rover, to a phone, to a hammer, to a shampoo bottle. CAD is critical for visualizing what it will look like and helping make design decisions about what should go where. In our case, after a few months of the design phase, we landed on something that looked like this. And it might look really impressive, and in many ways it is. But we sort of cheated and saved ourselves a lot of time and money, because this is something called CubeSat. About 25 years ago, a couple Stanford professors realized every satellite that goes to space needs all the same basic elements like solar panels, radios, and computers. So instead of everyone having to start from scratch and reinvent the wheel every time, they standardized the basic necessary hardware and sizes. Of the most common sizes used, the smallest is a 1U satellite, which is just a little bit bigger than a Rubik's Cube. And then there's the 2U, which is just 2 Rubik's Cubes, so double that. The 3U, the 6U, and the 12U. And this is the size we're using for Gus. The way it works then is all the hardware necessary for the basic functionality of the satellite, like the flight computer, takes up this space. But then that leaves all this extra room for the payload. In other words, the purpose of your satellite. Like, what do you want it to do? In our case, that would be a camera and a screen for taking the pictures. So for your first creation you'll be sending to space, I highly recommend you make it a CubeSat, because that will reduce your development costs 100 times, from tens of millions of dollars to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I want to talk about what's actually on Gus, because you'll need a lot of the same hardware yourself. But first, let's talk about what makes it unique, which is our payload, or how we're going to take the pictures. Once we get to space and everything's looking good, these 2 spring-loaded panels rotate open. On one, we've got a Google Pixel phone in a radiation-resistant case, and then on the other, we've got a camera that's specifically been designed to withstand the harsh space environment. So once we beam your picture up to the satellite, we'll display it on the phone screen, and then the camera will take an HDR picture and then beam the image back to Earth. You'll notice there's actually an identical setup of a phone and camera on the other side of Gus as well. That's basically a full backup system, since we can't go to space and fix things if there's a problem with the primary camera. For power, it's not feasible to run an extension cord all the way up to space, so she's got 2 fixed solar panels that dump their power into some 120 watt-hour batteries. The solar panels provide enough power to fully charge your phone 9 times every 90-minute orbit if they're optimally pointed at the sun. But this actually creates a big problem for us. We have to point this way at the sun to charge up the solar panels, but then we have to point this way at the Earth to send and receive pictures, and then this way down at the Earth to take the selfies. So how do we move around in space when there's no fuel or thrusters and there's no atmosphere to push against so propellers won't? Well, here's a hint. See this cube? It's just hanging by the swivel mount, and it doesn't have any thrusters or propellers attached to it either. And yet, when I push this button, I can get it to magically rotate and then stop. So can you guess what's going on inside to make that happen? Well, if we take off the panels to take a look, the trick is this spinning disc, the flywheel. Because angular momentum must be conserved, if the flywheel starts spinning one way, physics says the cube must rotate the other way to maintain equilibrium. So if you orient these 3 flywheels we call reaction wheels, all 90 degrees apart from each other, then you can spin them up and down to orient the whole satellite to any direction you want in space. And just like you can see here, they're incredibly precise. Now, because rotating the satellite is critically important for a backup and to help unspin these flywheels once they get to their max rotation speed, we've also got 3 torque rods, again, all oriented 90 degrees to each other. These are super genius and are such a simple design, you can even make one yourself, where you just run a bunch of wire around a $2 piece of crystalline iron, and when you run a current through that wire, it creates a magnetic field. You see proof of that here, because when we turn it on, it moves this compass. But that new magnetic field will want to line up with Earth's magnetic field, just like how normal magnets want to line up together. So you can see here, simply by turning it on and running current through the wire, seemingly by magic, you could change the orientation of this little floating platform. Another challenge we have is SatGust needs to know exactly where it is at all times relative to the Earth, so it knows when to snap your selfie as your neighborhood is passing underneath, along with a bunch of other reasons. To solve that, we've got a GPS on board, but that only tells us our location, not our orientation. So for orientation, we've got an IMU just like your phone does when it knows you've rotated it, as well as 2 star trackers that take pictures of the stars and match them against a catalog of star pictures to understand which way we're facing. But sometimes they can't see the stars because the sun's blinding them. So there's also 2 sun sensors that locate the brightest spot in the sky and just assume it's the sun, and those work great for course measurements. For the second to last critical piece of hardware, we need to be able to talk to it. For that, we've got 2 different radios, one slow and one fast. There's a UHF that has low data rates, and that's for basic commands and telemetry communication. And then an S-band, which is for higher data rates, like actually transmitting the pictures. And the final piece of hardware on SatGust that you're also going to need for your own space build is the flight computer. This is the brains of the satellite, and it takes all the inputs from the sensors and radios, and then makes the choices on where to spin and take the pictures. For step 2 of building and sending something into space, we need to analyze our design, because there are 4 main ways space tries to kill you, so we need to investigate each of these and make sure we're protected. The first is that it will try and shake you to death. Technically, this actually happens on the launch pad before you get to space, but the rockets necessary to escape the Earth's gravity are so massive and powerful, the violent rumble inside the rocket is strong enough to break most items we use on a daily basis here on Earth, especially if you're vibrating at the same rate as the rocket. And here's what I mean by that. You know how if you push someone on a swing at just the right time, they go higher and higher? Is that too high? Is that too high? What? Higher! But then if you push at the wrong time, you actually mess up their swinging and they slow down. Everything has a resonant frequency, from your phone right after it hits the ground to your house in an earthquake. To illustrate, I've got 3 masses here that all weigh the same. They're just attached to different rod lengths. So as I increase the shaking of the space plate, see if you can spot when we hit a resonant frequency. Oh, there it is for the long one. It becomes like the swing because we're adding more and more energy with each shake until it breaks. And now once again, if I increase how frequently the space shakes or its frequency, and we go past the resonant frequency of the big one, now the longer rod is fine, but the middle one hits its resonant frequency, and now it breaks. Now if I do this once more, and maybe pause at the first resonant frequency, and maybe I pause at the second, and then I crank it all the way up, we get close, but we never quite hit the resonant frequency of the small one. And that's the key. The shaking base plate represents the rumbling, shaky rocket. We have to make sure all of our hardware has a resonant frequency above the rockets, just like the short one did, so it doesn't break off like the longer two. But how do we do that? Well, remember that CAD model we created in step 1 to organize and package everything? We put it to double use, because now we turn it into a finite element model. This means we take the whole structure and divide it into a lot of little chunks called a mesh. Each chunk is small and simple enough where we can use really basic physics equations to see how it will affect the chunks next to it if you start vibrating. So now the computer just has to solve lots of really simple equations that are all connected, as opposed to one single impossibly difficult equation, to make sure that the resonant frequency for the whole satellite and each individual part are all higher than the rocket shake frequency. After that, even though we know we won't overlap with that low resonant frequency where things will go really bonkers, it's still a pretty violent shake, so we use that same finite element model to make sure all the pieces on the satellite are still strong enough to even withstand those lower level forces. The second way space tries to kill you is it wants to both burn and freeze you to death. Here on Earth, we've got a nice cozy atmosphere that acts like a giant blanket that holds heat from the sun and moves heat around through wind, which keeps the temperatures relatively stable. But in space, there's no atmosphere and no wind. And so in a single orbit, parts of the satellite can get as hot as 212 degrees Fahrenheit in the sun, and then as cold as negative 112 degrees Fahrenheit in the shade. That's like going from nearly twice the hottest temperature ever recorded in a desert on Earth to the coldest temperature ever recorded in Antarctica every 90 minutes. If we don't protect against it, those temperature swings would freeze or overheat the electronics pretty fast. So once again, we use that mesh that makes the math really simple. Only now we investigate how heat spreads through the metal structure when it's in direct sunlight or in Earth's cool shade. And once you've done that, you now know where to place the heaters, such as near the flight computer, so we can make sure it doesn't get too cold and shade, and then surface coatings as radiators to make sure it doesn't get too hot in the sun. The third way space is trying to kill you is to sunburn you to death. An hour in direct sunlight in space is equal to an entire year of standing in the sunlight on Earth, thanks again to our protective, healthful atmosphere. So we need to effectively put sunscreen on the satellite by placing critical electronics behind a thick enough piece of metal and glass, or else the extreme harsh radiation from the sun and other sources would damage the electronics. But how thick should it be? Because we have a very tight weight budget, we can't afford to make an enclosure thicker and heavier than it absolutely needs to. Well, as an example of how we figured that out, we took our Google Pixel and placed it in a radiation chamber that mimics the harsh space environment, then blasted it with radiation, and it actually lasted about 10 minutes, which is pretty impressive. Plus, it looked really cool. And so now that we know exactly what amount of radiation causes phone screen failure, we can calculate how thick the aluminum and glass enclosure needs to be to make sure we stay well below that level. In our case, the necessary layer of sunscreen ended up being aluminum that's 6 millimeters thick and a radiation-hardened glass that's 5 millimeters thick. Speaking of super advanced phones in space, we partnered with both Google Pixel and T-Mobile to make this whole thing happen. Google Pixel was the obvious choice to take the first ever selfie from space because of its specifically tested durability, bright, high-resolution display, and the real-tone technology that accurately displays all skin tones. And then T-Mobile, because they're already partnering with Starlink to provide satellite coverage to keep you connected in places you never thought possible. So they were our experts with exploring how to communicate with us on the satellite. And the fourth and final way space is trying to kill you is to vacuum you to death. We don't always realize it, but we're at the bottom of a huge dog pile of air molecules, which means our body is constantly pushing back against all that collective weight we call air pressure. But if you remove all that air pressure to mimic space conditions by sucking it out with this vacuum chamber, you can see exactly why astronauts need to wear an air pressurized suit when they're out in space that pushes in all around them as if they're on Earth. Now, of course, our satellite isn't carrying marshmallows, but it does have some rubber and foam and lithium batteries that, once put in the vacuum space, can all puff out or release gases that could damage other equipment if we don't take all the necessary precautions. So there's a couple other small things to watch out for, like corrosion, but those are the 4 main ways space is trying to kill your future space creation. But you'll notice I didn't say you need to worry about crashing into other satellites orbiting in space. And this might come as a surprise if you've ever seen this picture that accurately represents the number of satellites and other objects currently orbiting our planet, because it looks really crowded. The problem is those satellites aren't drawn to scale, just as the airplanes in this representation of daily flights across the whole planet aren't drawn to scale. SatGus doesn't even need thrusters to avoid another satellite because the chances of collision happening are so incredibly low. In fact, if you calculate based off volume of usable space occupied in orbit in a given day, space is 1 million times less crowded with satellites than our skies are with airplanes. And then think about how rare it is to ever see even 2 airplanes close to each other in the sky. So space is 1 million times less crowded than that. As humans, we actively track all 44,000 satellites and objects orbiting the Earth larger than a baseball. And there's international rules now to get a satellite up into orbit needs to burn up and disintegrate after a few years. So before we move on to step 3 of our mini space program and actually build the dang thing, that was a good time to point out SatGus will only be alive and orbiting anywhere from 1 to 3 years before it burns up upon re-entry. So if you want that space selfie, you're going to want to get yours now by visiting spaceselfie.com or using the link in the video description. Once you're on the site, it's pretty straightforward. You just upload the selfie you want and then choose things like if you want the daytime or nighttime Earth photobombing. You can also select if you want to take the picture over your hometown, and then we'll tell you exactly when we're going to snap the picture. So don't forget to go outside and wave at that very moment. When you submit your picture at spaceselfie.com, not only will you get this free, super cool mission capture in the mail, but you also have a chance to come out and watch the rocket launch in California in a month or 2 with me and my team. Now, of course, all this is free if you're a current CrunchLab subscriber, or if you become one now if you want that perfect holiday gift. Otherwise, all you gotta do is sponsor 1 box for a kid who can't afford it. Either one's a great choice. But I'll just point out, if you're like me and one of your favorite things in life is experiencing those aha moments where you learn something new, like maybe that's even happened watching this video, and if so, you're gonna love the CrunchLabs build box if you're a kid, or the CrunchLabs hack pack if you're a teen or adult. In both cases, they get delivered right to your door, where we build them together and learn all the really cool science and physics to make them work. For example, BuildBox subscribers already learned all about the flywheels we talked about earlier in the video, because the first mechanical toy we put together is the super fun mini disc launcher, where the physics principle we discuss in the exclusive video for me is flywheels. The For Hack Pack, we take it up a notch with a really cool robot that will work right out of the box with no programming required, but then as a fun incentive to dig in and tweak the code, we make it easy to level up the robot's capabilities using the online coding module. And since the holidays are here, there's nothing more fun to put on your list, nor is there a better gift to give. An investment in the future of that favorite person in your life as you watch their confidence, understanding, and resilience grow. On top of that, I promise you'll be guaranteed to be the first person that has ever gifted them a picture of themselves actually in freaking outer space. So to get all that, just go to crunchlabs.com or use the link in the video description, or to say thank you, we're giving away either 1 or 2 free boxes as a holiday special. Alright, so now that we've completed step 1, the design of our satellite, and then step 2, by doing all the math and analysis to make sure it will survive the brutality of space, we finally have the confidence to start step 3, actually building it. And as is tradition here, we're just gonna knock it out in a 15-second build montage. Once your space hardware is all put together, you're going to want to run through a full hardware-software test to make sure everything is working exactly how it was designed to. So for us, that includes things like unfurling and then testing the solar panels, test deploying both our camera and our screen, and running a full selfie upload and transmission test. Now, I mentioned earlier, SatGus actually has 2 screens and 2 space-hardened Redwire cameras. Now, hopefully we never end up using the redundant backup set, but it's there just in case the first one stops working for any reason, because we can't exactly just go up to space and fix it. This is actually pretty common when designing things for space, especially for mission-critical items. Even my own hardware I designed for the rover had backup. Both these doors can open and accept an individual dirt sample from the rover arm, even though the dirt actually went to the same place to get analyzed. So once everything looks good, all you need to do now is sign the thing and then add some googly eyes. Okay, fine. Sadly, googly eyes aren't allowed in space. Now that it's officially built and everything seems to be working, it's time for step 4, which we refer to at NASA as the shake and bake. Basically, when we analyzed the design in step 2, we predicted how SatGus would respond to the extreme vibrations and temperature fluctuations from launch in space. Now it's time to run some tests by shaking it and baking it to reassure ourselves that our predictions were accurate. For the shake part, we attach SatGus to a shake table and shake it in all 3 directions for 1 minute. We also shake it at a bunch of different frequencies to make sure there aren't any unexpected resonant frequency issues with any of the hardware. And the intensity of the shake is a little bit more than what we'll see on the launch pad, so if she survives this, we now have both analytical and actual proof she'll survive the ride to space. We're also checking to make sure nothing comes loose. For example, if you don't glue your fastening hardware down, as you can see here, all the vibrations can actually cause them to unscrew themselves. For the bake part, we put SatGus in a vacuum oven, just like space, and then cycled it to the maximum and minimum temperature 3 times, and even operated the satellite at these temperatures for extra peace of mind that once again, both analytically and practically with the test, when she gets to space, she'll have no problems with the vacuum, and she won't freeze or burn to death. So once you're done with the shake and bake and you use the final test to confirm everything's still working perfectly, now you can load it into its launch dispenser and pack it up. When you get to orbit, the dispenser will stay attached to the rocket, but the ejection spring mechanism inside it will gently push SatGus out into space. Another nice feature of the dispenser is that it has rubber isolation dampers where it attaches to the satellite. This serves to further limit the amount of shaking the satellite will feel. It's the same kind of thing tall skyscrapers use to limit how much shaking they feel from the earthquake. You can see how much this tower shakes when directly attached to the shaker table, but if we separate it with rubber pads, now you can see the shaking is greatly reduced. So now with everything packed up and ready to go, the next stop is step 5, the launch pad. SatGus will be launching on a SpaceX Falcon 9 from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. Now when you launch your own creation of space, I recommend SpaceX because they're currently the most inexpensive option by far. Also, when you book a spot on the rocket, the website makes it feel like you're just ordering a pizza as you select all the options you want, such as which orbit, launch date, interface plate options, or even add-ons like extra fuel. Now Vandenberg might seem like an odd choice to launch from, but it's really strategic. Because we want to take satellite pictures over every spot on the Earth, we don't want an orbit that circles this way around the Earth. We need an orbit that circles this way, so we have full coverage of every spot as the Earth rotates underneath us. Fun fact, spy satellites also have orbits like this, so they can also take pictures over the Earth. So to get this kind of orbit, we need to launch to the south, and for safety reasons, it needs to be over water. And this makes Vandenberg an ideal choice in the United States. Now, if you're sending something to Mars and you need to escape Earth's gravity, for that you want to be as close to the equator as possible, because you save fuel by taking advantage of the fact that you're already moving 1,000 miles per hour to the east as the Earth rotates versus 0 miles per hour to the east if you launch from, say, the South or North Pole. This is why in the United States, those missions either launch from here or here because they're as south as possible and both launch east safely over water. Now, Satgas won't be alone on this trip. There'll be anywhere from 50 to 100 others hitching a ride, all contained up in the nose part of the Falcon 9. That portion that carries the thing you care about putting in space is called the fairing. And on the Falcon 9, it's big enough to house a school bus. Then down below at the bottom, you've got a big liquid oxygen and fuel tank that power 9 engines, and then a smaller identical set near the top with a single engine, because these two parts will eventually separate when we get to space. So after a very dramatic and very powerful liftoff sequence, with the equivalent energy of setting off nearly 8,000 sticks of dynamite, the Falcon 9 launches off the coast. It takes about 2.5 minutes before it's traveling at 3,700 miles per hour. Now it's time for the main booster to separate from the top portion where Satgas is stowed away. What's really cool though is that it falls back to Earth and then eventually flies itself autonomously back to a landing pad so it can be used for another flight. This is one way SpaceX is able to fly things so much cheaper, because boosters used to not be reusable and you'd have to build a new one for every single flight. Now the remaining single engine fires itself up for the first time to keep building up some speed, and 30 seconds later, 3 minutes after launch, the fairing splits in two and peels off, exposing all the satellites as the engines continue to fire. It then continues accelerating for an additional 5 minutes, getting up to a speed of 5 miles per second, which is about 10 times faster than a bullet, at which point, just 9 minutes after launch, it cuts off the engines. Now we'll just silently coast close to an hour, after which it will take about 2 hours to deploy each of the satellites, including ours, one by one, as it completes an orbit. And this brings us to our 6th and final step of our bootstrap space program, which is operations. Once Satgas ventures off on her own, after a couple hours, we should hear back from her saying everything's going great. After that, she'll stretch out her solar panels and then deploy the streaming camera. We'll be monitoring all her vitals for this mission control room here, and after a couple weeks, when everything is converted in perfect working order, she'll start taking the selfies. And she'll keep taking selfies every single day until she reaches her honorable end in approximately 1 to 3 minutes. And this might seem sad, but there's no way around it, because as her orbit decays over time, she starts bonking into more and more air molecules as the atmosphere gets thicker and thicker, slowing her down even more. And because she has the energy of a 55-pound cannonball traveling 10 times faster than a bullet, he builds up dramatically from so much air friction, which disintegrates spectacularly in a glorious hot fireball. And to give you a sense of just how much energy this actually is, this is a model of our satellite subjected to only 5 sticks of dynamite, or 1/100th the re-entry. Which honestly is a pretty epic way to mic drop a mission fully accomplished. I've been working on creating this satellite with my team for over 3 years, and after all that, we're currently right here in our 6-step space program, with launch happening in a month or 2. So let's do this together. Go visit spaceselfie.com, upload your picture, then I'll send you the free mission patch, and maybe you'll even be selected to come out and watch the launch with me. Since I was a kid, gazing up at the night sky has filled me with such wonder. And seeing all the stars, and even our own galaxy, and thinking about our place of potential as humans amongst all those stars, sparked my first love for science, and eventually led me to Mars. So in some small way, sharing that wonder with all of you feels really special and fills me with hope for the next generation of big problem solvers.
Let's do this.
With the holidays right here, what about getting or giving a different way to think? Or how about even a free college tuition?
That's awesome.
Well, in either case, Crunch Labs has you covered, because every backpack has a chance to contain the Platinum Diploma. If yours has it, college tuition is free for you or someone you love. And as for the thinking part, of course you get that for kids with the build box, but for teens and adults, if you've always wanted to make and build cool stuff, but just haven't figured out that first step, Hackpack is it, because you're getting a series of really fun programmable robots that get delivered right to your door, where we build it together and learn step-by-step the kinds of engineering skills that go into making the builds on my YouTube channel. And they work with no programming required. This is my goal is to take you from wherever you're currently at and then level you up. You can easily hack the microcontroller brains of any of these robots in a bunch of ways to completely level up the functionality. There's also a community where you can share your builds and post your questions, as well as an AI chatbot named Mark Robot that will check your code and even help you implement your most creative ideas. So no matter what your age, this holiday season, if you want to grow your brain in really fun ways and get or give someone their actual picture from actual space, go to crunchlabs.com or use the link in the video description where to say thank you. We're giving away either 1 or 2 free boxes as a holiday special. Thanks for watching.